on Josh.
Oh, we are?
Okay, so we do have a fourth. Good.
Yay.
Okay. Good. I wasn't sure if we had 3 or 4. As I know we lost one player.
Yeah, Soren had jury duty today and a bunch of other stuff happening. A lot. Too much.
I'm going to move this back slightly.
Life
happens.
just refuses to stop coming at you.
That's a thing that happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Good evening.
sucks, but we get it.
Yep. Okay.
All right. So does anyone know where Josh is, or has anyone spoken to him?
I saw that he saw the notification. I'll send him a quick message.
Okay.
So it's 1811.
Yeah, let's go with 1811.
All right.
So we're still in the heart of the Napoleonic Wars, when Napoleon is still a problem. Because after 1813, he's less of a problem for a while, except briefly in 1814, and then he's not again.
And then he shipped off to what? Was it Minolta? I forget where he got exiled
to.
Second
Malta.
time to St. Helena.
Okay.
Where they sent him to a place he wasn't coming back from, and he died there a few years later. There's still a debate actually over how he died, whether it was a stomach cancer or whether he was poisoned.
Oh, okay.
Because researchers have discovered higher levels of arsenic in his remains, but there's also a lot more. There's other explanations than poison for that level of arsenic.
Gotcha.
So
like arsenic he could have naturally consumed it somehow.
Yeah, or
I'm sure for the time period. Yeah.
Yeah, and the point is we don't know. So
Yeah.
he died. In any case, the people who thought he was a problem were perfectly satisfied.
Right.
That he's dead, and therefore less of a problem.
It's the 1800s. There's arsenic and apple juice. There's lead and everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Arsenic is found in all sorts of things you don't want to think about.
Yep. Hello, Josh.
And the drug of choice for many people is either tobacco in the form of snuff, which you take by sniffing.
Yeah.
Or
the snuff.
Or laudanum, which is a mixture of morphine and opiate.
Laudanum.
Also, usually mixed with alcohol. So it's downer plus downer plus downer.
Makes you feel great.
Oh yeah.
Happy time.
And you know the story about Samuel Taylor Coleridge, right?
I can't say that I do.
So there's a story that claims that he wrote the poem Xanadu, which is officially unfinished, while high on laudanum.
Somebody knocked at his door.
The story is that he was dreaming this while he was on this drug, and a guy selling brushes knocked on his door, a door-to-door salesman, and ruined his drug dream, and he never recovered it and couldn't finish the poem.
What year was that?
And so it was I don't even remember. It was basically some asshole selling brushes.
Dr. Payne style.
Who ruined it. It's not true, by the way. The poem was edited several times. It is the poem as it is if the form he meant it in. But the story about him, getting screwed by someone trying to sell things, just felt so much like art versus commerce.
It was published in 1816.
Okay, so
it could have been Dr. Payne.
5 years. 5 years in future.
Andy, I also like that you have taken my last name.
Yes, you told me about that.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I like the name Dr. Payne.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I always thought I should go into medicine.
So, before we go anywhere, then, let us get a sense, so everybody knows what everyone's got, of whose character is what. So, if you would please give us a description of your character. Do not feel the need to include anything private.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, what do people know by seeing you? What do people know by reputation?
Yeah.
Also, whether that reputation is true or not is, either way. The point is, what does the world think about you?
Also, Josh, are you here? You're in the chat.
I'm here.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, I gotta turn you down, Josh. What's your character's name, Josh?
I'm just pulling up character sheet.
Okay.
Give me a moment.
I'll switch your nickname once.
Yeah. So this way, everybody will have a sense of who everyone else is, at least publicly. And also remind me of who's who, because it has been a while.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want to go first, Kevin?
Up to you.
No,
To you.
You're the keeper. Just pick somebody. Let's go.
Oh, okay.
Take
Well,
charge.
Andy, you're in the left-hand side of my
Okay.
screen, so you first.
Dr. Fletcher
I'm going
Payne of London,
left to right.
who is a physician and has been for some years. He is average looks. There's a picture in investigator pics of him. He's part of the gentry. He's married, has some children. His family is doing quite well currently. He's very friendly and very kind gentleman. Spends his time either in London. He lives mostly, I believe, in London, but they also have a there's an estate where his parents live in Bedfordshire, between just southeast of Bedford, not only a mile from the ruins of Warden Abbey.
Okay, so have you been to the Abbey ruins?
No. I haven't had time. Not since I was a tot. Since I was a child.
Gotcha.
We went there on a lot.
Do you have a practice in London?
Yes.
You have a medical office?
Yes. That's where I believe that I had him live. He primarily lives in London, but they spend quite a bit of time at the estate of his parents as well. He's married to Rose Withers of the Withers family. They are up and coming. Oh, look at that. Oh, they are up and coming. They're nouveau riche. So I don't know if you want rumors about the family or anything like that.
Anything people would know publicly. If there's a rumor, please do.
The Paynes were in trouble financially before the arranged marriage between Fletcher and Rose. And Rose's dowry has basically breathed new life into the entirety of the family. And that's kind of important, I guess. People know about it.
People would have known about that.
Yeah.
How about your practice? Is it doing well?
Yes, practice is doing very well, and patients like Dr. Payne.
Okay, and I'm going to guess then your office in London is probably your residence. So you have basically a London townhouse with an examination room, an office in the front, and then rooms and space upstairs,
right,
or in the rear.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, those townhouses like in a line, but like in a very nice part of town because there is a lot of money in the family again.
Okay.
Is that enough? Anything else?
Yeah, that'll do. That's what people will know. Okay, who's next?
Edgar Illingsworth is next online.
I can go. That's fine. Yeah. So
then it's you,
Edgar Illingsworth. Yeah. He lives in an estate in Biggleswade, along the River Ivel, and they pretty much host hunting parties essentially. But Edgar's father, let's see, Miles, had died during a hunting accident some time ago. So that would probably be. But other than that, they host hunting events, is what people would know.
And
he is
import game, including some dangerous animals.
Yeah.
Like this is basically a hobby. If you're rich and want some real danger in your life, these are the people you talk to.
But he's a rather large man, balding. I posted a picture of him in investigator pics. Let's see.
Oh yeah. So not bald, but definitely balding on top.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Green eyes, brown hair, and he kind of smells a wet dog. So.
Oh, that won't do any good. Your reputation any good. You really should wash up.
Bum, bum, bum.
Well.
Yeah.
Too late.
If
You already
that's
said it.
no, that's fine. That's fine.
This may explain why he doesn't have much of a family then.
Right.
He's not
Let's
married.
Nope, he's not married.
How old is he?
30.
Oh, confirmed bachelor. Ah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, and their estate is pretty modest, other than they keep quite a few dogs. I say they got a pair of breeding curlies, curly-coated retrievers. They have a pack of foxhounds and one boarhound.
You have a house in London as well.
We're outside of Biggleswade.
Where's Biggleswade?
North of London.
Okay, but do you have an in-town residence?
Do I need to?
That's up to you. No, that's up to you.
Biggleswade. Found it.
Yeah. Probably not.
Ooh, wow.
Okay.
That's way low north of London.
Because your other option, of course, if you don't have a place yourself, is when you're in town, you might stay at a club.
Okay.
Ooh. Oh, I probably do belong to a club of some kind.
Oh,
I didn't think
most
about
of you do.
A physician's club.
Yeah, that's fine. I'd be okay with that. Going to a club.
As a club member, you can take a room there, or
Okay.
you can room at an inn or a rooming house if you prefer.
Okay.
When you're in London for the season, you either room at a club or you rent a room.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
That'll do. Okay, who's next? Graham? Josh?
Oh,
somebody?
yes, that would be me.
Connor.
Connor Edgeworth is a sort of like string bean of a man with sort of a mop of sort of brown hair, very very gaunt, a little sickly. Never quite lived up to his father's stature, and his father continues to let him know about that every single day of his life.
What does his father do?
His father is gentry, but sort of has in the past. There's many rumors swirling around about, let's say, poor investments that have sort of taken the Edgeworth name and put it through a bit of the mud, if you catch my meaning.
Oh, dear.
And though Connor is a second child, and his older brother is has been set up and continues to be the favorite to eventually inherit most of the family, like the business, the goings on.
If anything's
Connor
left
is
at that point.
Yeah, Connor is just sort of content to spend an ungodly amount of time reading. For his passion is, as his mother would put it, fairy stories and folklore and little chunks of esoteric lore. And he's just sort of a very bookish sort who's he's never really had an easy time making friends, because when he starts talking about the things he's actually interested in, people start looking at him funny. Being gentry, he is mainly self-educated in his little field of expertise. And
never attended college?
father wouldn't let him, so he had to sort of make his own way, and sort of like is a little envious of those who actually get to pursue their academic desires. So he's mainly self-taught, and yeah.
Work. And what does he have for an income then?
Mainly relies on the family.
Okay, so his dad is still paying
his dad's
way.
still paying for everything, but it's kind of like basically he's paying to have a son to like essentially like emotionally abuse.
Yeah.
Because he's like, yeah, like you're
That's
worthless,
awful.
you're pointless, but I'm gonna pay for everything you want, and keep a roof over your head because you're my responsibility still.
And every time he pays the bills, then he's reminding you how worthless you are, that you can't pay the bills yourself.
Exactly.
Does he throw money at you as he insults you?
It hasn't gotten quite that bad yet, but the recent economic strains have put like even more stress on that relationship, as the father is like, I have to care for and pay for the existence of this
Twit.
dead weight
Dead
who
Yeah.
weight.
So you
can't
may
stop talking about fairy.
you may need to find a job at some point. That is what you're
Might
saying.
need to find a job,
Gotta get
but
out of that
for
house.
You
How
are
old is he? How old is
uh,
Connor? Ish.
29,
Okay.
okay, and also on unmarried.
very unmarried. There have been attempts, but it has not worked out.
Because, of course, marriage would be another way to restore your financial situation.
Ah, that's
But
what we
given the
did.
circumstances, that's probably not going to happen.
Wow.
No.
Bless his heart.
Okay,
Wait, is this
that
common
leaves.
knowledge that Connor's father's an abusive jerk?
It's more like rumors that
Okay.
there's like stress in the relationship
Okay.
more than like it is like genuinely like financial abuse.
Gotcha.
I
Gotcha.
kind of like the idea that everybody that his father has a reputation as being abusive. Like he's not a good man, and
He's a
everybody knows it.
harsh man. He's a
Yeah.
stern man. A
Yeah,
stern man. There you are.
Yeah,
there we go.
people will
There we
say
go. I
things
like
like
that.
that
Yeah.
because they won't. They're too polite to call him an asshole to his face.
Yeah,
But
and Connor is
everyone,
just
in other words, everyone knows.
He's just trying to toughen the boy up.
yeah, and
Yeah,
Connor's just like
Poor
so.
Connor.
dur-
Bless his heart.
During the summer, I
make
went to
excuses
Wales
for
and
him.
I took these excellent sort of etchings on the stone I found in the woods. That's just his vibe.
Okay, and something that you might know, and actually you're one of the few who would know it. So, while you've never attended university, you did certainly do your own reading. This means, getting yourself access to the library.
Hmm.
And it is not common knowledge, but Dr. Martin Blythe, who teaches technically theology, but realistically languages,
Hmm.
had acquired a Babylonian tablet, at least that's what we thought it that was stolen the other day.
Oh,
Which
Uh,
college?
he's at Oxford.
Thank you.
You might have been called on to make an etching of it if you have that kind of skill.
mm.
Oh.
So you may, in fact, have an etching of what Dr. Blythe referred to as the Enzilu tablet.
Ooh.
Okay. Can you spell that? NZ
Uh,
Lu.
no, I really can't because it's translated out of Babylonian.
Okay.
So, I've spelled it Anzilu, I think, but
That works.
spell it any way you like.
No, no, no.
It's
That's okay.
it's
That's okay.
transliterated.
Okay.
Uh, yeah,
That's
he referred to it as the Enzilu tablet. Don't know much else about it.
I don't know.
It asked you to make a reproduction of it with an etching, and before you were able, it was stolen basically while you were doing the job. In other words, one night you were working on it. When you came back the next day, he informed you privately that it was missing.
damn.
He's also spoken to the Bow Street runners and contracted them to attempt to find it because it's technically priceless.
The web already is being woven.
Yep.
All
Okay.
right.
I believe Josh, that's you then.
Yeah.
Oh, how did you change your own nickname? I can't figure out how to do. Oh wait, no, I did. I did figure out how to do that. Never mind, Josh. Go ahead.
So my character's name is Thomas Baker. Um, you would know that Thomas comes from a baking company. His father and his father's father uh, built this bread company, and I'm I'm the heir to inherit it, but my father's still running it. The hot gossip though is that um, Thomas was married and had a wife who grew ill at a young age and has already passed. And since then, Thomas has become a bit more of a recluse and um, has just kind of come off. He he doesn't have a terrible reputation, but people whisper about him. Is he okay? And did he kill his wife?
Oh,
Oh, is
so
that actually
that's
being? Oh,
so
That's
so the
that's
official word is she died of an illness.
the
People have
official word.
suggested that he did it.
And
oh
Hmm.
dear.
Thomas is very into reading now. He's trying to use all his knowledge
Do anything.
into medical books, even though he's not a doctor, but he really wants to be one. So he's reading
Mm,
up. Hmm.
Right. So you and Dr. Payne have probably crossed paths in pursuit of some of those texts,
I
Correct.
or
haven't. I still
uh,
read a
uh,
lot.
well, yeah, I mean, one needs to keep up with such things.
Is Thomas a bad sort as far as reputation?
Reputation wise,
Is he
um,
considered a bad sort, or is he still reputable?
he's reputable,
Okay.
but people talk behind his back, and he knows this.
Oh,
Well, if people are talking about the fact that he might have murdered his wife,
how
I mean,
unkind.
nobody would say that to his face.
Hmm.
But the point is that people have suggested it, and there's no way to prove it at this point, one way or the other. So there's really no way to get those people to shut up except to call them out.
But they're not doing
Which
it to his face, so he's got to first
exactly,
figure out who did it. Oh man. Okay.
exactly. That's how these things work. So if you saw someone doing it, if they did it to your face, you could call them out on it. But nobody so far, no one has been that stupid.
Hmm.
And honestly, what are they going to do about it? I'm guessing, given your last name, that the family goes all the way back to the Middle Ages.
Yes,
You can probably trace your ancestors back 6, 7 generations.
exactly. Um, and
Ooh.
Dr. Payne,
Yes.
you probably would know
Hmm.
that I've not only just been looking into medical books, but also occult literature.
Ooh,
Oh.
which might have put
Yeah.
you on my radar as well.
Yep. In fact, many of you have probably crossed paths at 2 places.
Just a rumor.
One is Mountbatten's. That's a club that all of you are members of.
What's it called again?
Mountbatten's, named for the Earl of Mountbatten.
Mountbattens?
Yep. Located at number 44 Pall Mall. It's a nice place. Named for the Earl of Mountbatten. The club is the kind that focuses on intellectual and scientific pursuits, which
Hmm.
explains why many of you would have
Hmm.
sought to join up. Uh, the nice thing about it is you don't have to be elite to join.
Ah,
In other
Illingsworth is
words,
in.
those with any kind of pretension to intellectual pursuits are sometimes invited to join.
Well, then how did Illingsworth get in?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out a little bit. I persuaded my way in. I'm quite persuasive, so.
Um, listen, not everybody is involved in intellectual pursuits. Some people are invited in by others.
Oh, yes. All right,
Remember,
that makes
to
sense.
join a club, you have to be invited by a pre-existing member,
Maybe they just
and
have
then you have to
really nice.
survive a blackball vote.
Hmm.
Yeah, maybe they just have really nice snuff, and you're just like, damn, I don't care about this nerd shit, but the snuff's on it.
Oh, well, they have a dining room, they have a bar, they have or what they call a receiving room, which is where you can meet visitors. They have rooms for those who need a place to stay. So club members can rent a room there for a very reasonable price if you want to stay downtown. The other place that most of you have crossed paths
Hmm.
is at the Mercury Library. This is a lending library, or what
Oh,
we would call a subscription library. In other words, you pay a yearly fee to join it, and then you can take a book, and when you return it, you can take another one.
Mm.
those are pretty rare, aren't they? Lending libraries at this time.
Yeah, there are not many of them,
Okay.
and you have to pay an annual fee to be a member. So it's not the kind of thing most people can afford.
Right.
On the other hand, the Mercury has a decent collection of occult books. This is
Mm.
why you enjoyed such a thing. There are, so they say, some volumes that you cannot remove from the Mercury. For those of you who've spent more time there, the one you can confirm is they have a manuscript copy of John Dee's notes on Necronomicon,
Ooh.
Ooh.
which
What's
you
that
cannot remove.
What
It's
language?
in
Is it
it's in English.
Nice.
Yeah, it's John Dee's notes. Although the problem with it is parts of it are in his Enochian language. So his commentary is in English, but there's also sections in Enochian.
I knew I should have taken Enochian.
Well, it's kind of something he made up. So, so he wrote some of his notes in that. The nice thing is that some of that has been translated.
Okay.
And some of those note cards are with the original text. So about 80% of it is readable. And one of these days, someone should probably finish the remaining 20%. Those of you who've been around the Mercury know that that's one of its prizes.
Mm.
There may be other stuff there too, but
Mhm.
that one, because that's an original manuscript that never saw a printing press.
That's 16th and 17th century, right? John Dee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Died 1609, I think. Thereabouts.
Oh, I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So
He was a
couple hundred years.
contemporary of Elizabeth I.
Mm.
And as the story goes, he predicted Elizabeth would become queen, supposedly by astrology. And since then, she was a fan of his. So every time he got in trouble, he called the queen, and the
bailed him
queen
out.
hooked him up with problem. Yeah,
Okay.
problem solved. Totally. So he got away with a whole bunch of stuff. Also, fun fact: he once made 11 days disappear. True story.
Poppycock.
Too much laudanum.
Here's a question though.
No.
There's
He actually did it because he was calculating astronomy and realized the medieval calendar failed to account for leap years.
Oh, that's interesting.
So he
I
actually
didn't know
figured
that.
out that the calendar was wrong based on where the Earth was in its rotation.
That's cool. They have medical
that's
books there as well.
Yeah, they do, which
Okay,
is
good.
one reason you would join.
My character's probably not. He's not looked too much into these occult books.
Yeah. Incidentally,
Not
how's
yet.
your German? How's your German?
My character speaks a smattering of German.
Good, because
And Latin.
some of the most medical texts, at least older ones, are in Latin. Many of the modern ones are in German.
Okay. I have difficulty with it. It takes me a long time. I've only got a 26, so I'm not fluent or anything like that, but I can make my way through.
Well, remember, 26 is competence.
Okay.
Oh, for those, in case you, I don't know if you guys, I don't remember if you use this, but basically what I like to use is the rule of 75, rule of 25.
Mm-hmm.
So at 75 or greater, you are an expert. You don't need to roll at all unless circumstances dictate. So, for instance, if you have 75 at mechanical repair, can you fix this machine? Absolutely.
I'm not an expert.
Can you do it in the next 30 minutes with what you have in your pockets? Roll the dice. And if you fail, the answer is you don't know how to do it. Isn't you don't know how to do it, the answer is I need a replacement part, which I do not have. So the correct solution is I have to order a replacement part, which isn't here. I can't do this because that's the correct solution to this problem. So it's not that your knowledge fails you, it's circumstances fail you.
I am an expert with money.
Oh,
I can solve any problem with my money.
Yeah. Well, things that can be opposed always might roll. Like, for instance, if you have 80 at brawl and you're punching someone who's aware of you and does not wish to be punched, you still need to roll.
Right. Okay.
But if you're attacking someone who's unaware of you, then the expert success kicks in.
I'm not.
So if you mug somebody and they don't know you and you have 80 at brawl, you punch them. 25 is competence.
Gosh.
At 25, you can do the thing under normal circumstances. So, for instance, if you have 26 at German, you can have a conversation in German in the same room as somebody when it's not too loud.
Right.
But if you're trying to say have that conversation on a battlefield or in the dark where you can't use gesture or face to indicate your meaning, then you might have to roll.
Mm-hmm.
If you're reading a text like a medical text, having the medical skill and enough German means you'll get through it. Someone else might bring a dictionary.
Okay.
So you might, for instance, when you read German text there, you might simply take a dictionary with you and occasionally need to look something up and say, okay, this is a word I don't recognize in German. Fortunately, I have a dictionary. I just look it up. and work from there. So that's the rule of 25, rule of 75.
Okay.
Okay. So what the hell? Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. So the place to begin, I think, then, is Mountbatten's Club on a kind of brisk March night, around 8 o'clock in the evening. And at this point, the place is, as it is most such nights, kind of crowded. But Mountbatten's is a good crowd. Most of you will know each other, and I don't know how friendly you are with each other. That's up to you.
I'm friendly with everyone.
Yeah, well, I know you are.
I'm everybody's friend.
Um,
It's
you
no
most, I
women
don't,
are in this club, right? This is a men's club.
no, this,
Okay,
yeah.
that's what I thought.
The receiving room allows guests.
Mhm.
So if you wanted to meet with a woman, you could use the receiving room for this
Okay.
purpose. That's the only place non-members are permitted. That also means you can meet with any non-member there. In other words, that room allows you to hold a private meeting with a non-member if you wish.
Okay.
But only members, of course, can make use of that. That's why they call it the receiving room. It's basically a lounge, but it's got enough space and enough furniture that you can find a table or a couch. And if you're discreet, you probably won't be overheard. You have very few servants who work at Mountbatten's. It's one of the sort of things about this place is that people go to the bar to get their own service. It's part of the charm of the place, I suppose. So while you do have a couple of servants, and Mr. Lester, who works the bar, and as far as we know, has worked the bar literally forever. That's probably not true, but as far as anyone in the club knows, he's been here since it was founded.
Mr. Lester?
Yeah.
Very good.
And as far as we know, Mountbatten's dates back to 1783, so it is entirely possible that Mr. Lester has in fact been here since it was founded. Certainly nobody's going to question that. But the point is that many of you will need to go to the bar to get a drink yourself, which in many other places you would not do. A servant would come do it for you.
Oh, that's fine.
It's part, like I said, part of the charm around here. You'll recognize, of course, many of the other people here. The solicitor, Mr. Howard, who's wrapped up in affairs of court these days. Is that Sir Reginald? Yeah, Sir Reginald Pitcairn, explorer, back from Egypt, so they say. Looking, honestly, not very well.
Oh.
And for those of you paying attention, drinking a hot drink rather than an alcoholic one. Which implies, yeah, they're right, he's not feeling well.
Mm.
Well.
Over in the corner there, Mr. Schultz, or German Schultz, as he's sometimes known. He probably has a given name. I don't think anyone's ever heard it. He's your resident, German businessman, so we're told. And the talk of the day really surfaces around something that came out in the newspaper, which is circulating, which has to do with the Home Secretary, Mr. Reynolds, reluctant to remind everyone that rumors of French balloonists are entirely ridiculous and are to be discounted at all costs. That there are no balloonists, there are no French balloonists, and no one is invading in balloons.
What is our relations with France right now? Are we at war currently?
Technically, yes.
Okay.
In particular, the Peninsular War.
Mm.
So the conflict is sort of simmering, except in Spain, where it is absolutely brutal.
All right.
That's the Peninsular Guerrilla War.
My brother's not. Is he down there?
That's up to you.
He's a major, so he's an officer.
So he might be in Spain. He also might be in England in a Home Guard unit.
Canada.
That's up to you. Or he might be somewhere in the Empire.
We're having trouble with America right now, too, aren't we? Aren't they being kind of feisty over there? Causing some issues?
At the moment, British policy in America tends to be arming Native Americans who are resisting U.S. incursion.
Yes!
In other words, the British are not fighting the U.S. directly. They're arming people whose homelands are being invaded and saying, you deal with it. You don't like Americans invading your territory? Hey, guess what? We got free guns. You want them? That's been the British policy.
Okay.
So there are British soldiers in Canada, but they're doing very little actual fighting.
Mhm.
Okay.
So if your brother is in Canada, he's got a nice cushy post where the most serious danger is frostbite and running into a
I
moose.
think I like the idea of him being in Canada right now. It's going to warm up there pretty quick. But
Yeah. And it should be very pleasant in the summer.
at least I don't have to worry about him in Canada. At least at this second, I'm just like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
They're doing
That's
fine.
fine. Yeah. So anyway, the point is that what everyone's talking about is this rumor that apparently someone saw an army of French balloonists, and it freaked people out.
Okay.
And it's hard to get around the level of ridiculousness. And any of you who know anything about the way the world works, no, that's not probably a thing.
Mhm.
Could you even balloon across the English Channel? I mean, theoretically,
Balloons are pretty primitive now, aren't they?
yeah. And also, a typical balloon carries what, a couple of people?
Yeah.
Not an army. How many balloons would you need for an army?
They would need 1,000 balloons. We'd
Yeah.
certainly see them
Point is,
coming.
it's ridiculous. But apparently, somebody saw what they thought was an army of French balloonists. A rumor spread, and people were freaking out. So the front of the newspaper circulating around Mountbattens is the Home Secretary reminding you not to freak out. This is not super important.
Oh, that's what I'm doing. I'm reading the paper.
No.
Can I be doing
Yeah,
that?
that's a thing. Oh yeah, that's
I'm in a
that's the head. Yeah, that's one of the headlines there.
armchair, Sherry, reading a
Yep.
newspaper.
And it's at this point that one of the pages, club page, uh, Mr. Henshaw, something like that. Not even sure. He's a younger man. Just started working here a couple of days ago. Comes in and comes over to Dr. Payne. Excuse me, doctor.
Oh, yes.
There are two men who wish to speak with you in the
Oh,
receiving room.
oh, very well. I'll fold the paper and I'll leave my Sherry there. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Okay.
And I will go
And
out to greet them to find out who's looking for me.
and as he does, the rest of you who are wherever you are at the club, this rumor will also spread very quickly. That apparently the two men are from the Bow Street Magistrates Court.
Mm.
Oh, yes,
Is
gentlemen.
Dr. Payne being accused of a crime?
Oh, dear. No,
And
of course not. Not Dr. Payne.
Mr. Henshaw is walking with him over there and is also very clearly eavesdropping. In other words, he closes the door to the receiving room most of the way.
Stands there.
Yeah. Officially, he is minding the door so people do not intrude. Unofficially, he is in fact eavesdropping.
That's fine.
Everybody knows.
I think
I don't.
Yeah, you
Connor
don't.
would probably be sitting somewhere comfortable, drinking his sorrows away, having the after the disappointment of the carving being stolen, and so he's
Yeah.
just sort of like grumbling to himself, thinking about like what next he wants to do.
And in fact, if you're lucky, Dr. Blythe said he might stop by tonight.
Well, that'd be lovely. Good to commiserate with the old chum.
Yeah, although he hasn't yet. But it's not too late yet. He might. And what about Mr. Baker and Mr. Illingsworth? Where are you guys?
Illingsworth is probably off in a corner somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you by yourself? Are you engaged with anyone, or are you hiding in a
No.
corner and being antisocial?
He's a little antisocial, but I mean, I don't know what he would possibly be reading there.
A newspaper?
Yeah, I say if there's another newspaper, he was just at least trying to keep up on current events at the very least. So
Newspapers are ridiculously common.
okay,
Most clubs take them several times a day.
yeah,
So,
I assume
and
they
many
would have
newspapers,
several.
yeah,
Yeah, I
and
would.
many
I assume
newspapers
they would.
publish multiple issues a day.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. It's probably reading
So-
the Times or one of the bigger ones. Isn't the London Times is a big?
Yeah. There's a whole variety of them. Also, which one you're reading may depend on your politics. The club tends to be more what we would think of as liberal. So many of the newspapers it subscribes to are more liberal newspapers.
okay.
But that's just a function of which ones, of the many available, which ones the club chooses to subscribe to. And that's true of every club where they
they
subscribe to
let
not every newspaper, but definitely some.
Do they let animals in this club? Just wondering.
Not normally, no.
Probably not.
Okay. All right. All right. If they
And
normally don't, then that's fine.
Could he have bribed someone?
No, he
yeah,
wouldn't have. I don't know whether he would have been that type of a person, but
well, he could, but it would also raise some reputation issues.
Yeah.
Fair, fair.
You can't
And
walk in
Mr.
like
Baker,
a.
where are you?
Mr. Mr. Baker,
Yes.
where is there any sort of library, wall of books in this
Of
club?
course. That's part of why you
Um,
joined.
Mr. Baker is seen uh, perusing the medical literature, um, and particularly ones that have diagrams of anatomy.
Okay.
I love that.
Yeah. So at the moment, then, what you're probably hip deep in is, say, a copy of Vesalius, De Corpore Humanis Fabricis, because they have the nice edition with the plates,
Mm.
including some fold-out plates.
Would that be written in Latin?
Yeah. Most older medical literature is in Latin.
Josh, does your character have any points in Latin?
I'm not fluent, if that's what you're asking, but
What's your score in Latin?
One.
I have 23. It's just under.
That's
Okay,
still
so
really
you're
good.
you're basically struggling through it with a dictionary.
Uh,
Yeah.
could I perchance peek, take a look, just sort of, and notice that he's currently like
Oh,
giving giving a nasty glare at the book?
oh, absolutely. And notice the fact that he's got a dictionary open, a handbook open. In other words, he's got several volumes open on a coffee table in front of him, one of which is the club's copy of Vesalius. That's
Uh,
one you're probably familiar with, because that is a nice with the full color plate edition. Like that's the expensive edition.
I pick up my drink and just sort of walk over. Taking a sip, I just sort of like walk around your chair and then sort of stand sort of just across.
Okay.
Mr. Baker, yes?
Yes, you're correct.
That's. I've read that copy a few. Oh, I've given it a glance a few times.
Mm.
Are you having some trouble?
Do you mean to translate for me or just block my light?
Rude.
I sort of chuckle at that a little bit. And may I? I gestured to the chair across from him.
I nod.
Okay.
I sit down and I give it a look and just sort of ask
So there's
what he's struggling with and
so
what
there's
can help.
yeah. So there's the two of you working together. Cool.
Yeah.
Now back in the receiving room, meantime, Dr. Payne will find two men waiting.
Hmm.
Their clothing is simple. Nothing, of course, gives them away what their actual function is, because uniforms aren't really a thing.
Yeah.
Not for these guys. But according to what Mr. Henshaw said, they are from the Bow Street Magistrates Court. That is to say, they are essentially private law enforcement.
Hmm. Good evening,
And,
gentlemen.
one of them says, "Good evening.
I'm Dr. Fletcher
You're,
Payne. May I be of assistance?
we certainly hope so, sir." Um, they look at each other like finding a place that's quiet. "I'm Mr. Cross, and my associate is Mr. Leslie."
Is it's appropriate to shake hands?
"Yes."
Yes, I'll shake each of their hands.
and you'll find a quiet place to sit.
Yeah, we can.
Uh,
They have to be in here somewhere. So there's a
yeah,
corner or something with some chairs.
exactly. I don't know how to say this, says Mr. Cross, but a matter came to our attention that involved your name, sir.
Oh dear. Please go on.
Yesterday, some gentlemen of our organization took a Mr. Buckwhite,
Do I know
who
a Buckwright?
never heard of this
Okay.
man.
Okay.
He's a resurrection man.
Oh.
He was taken in the act.
Oh,
And when questioned, he named you, sir, as one of his primary purchasers.
Oh. I'm afraid he's a liar, sir.
Entirely within the realm of the possible, but you understand, of course,
Of course.
why we had to follow up this matter.
Oh, I completely understand, sir.
If
I
you would be willing, would you be willing to attend the magistrate's court tomorrow and give that evidence to the magistrate?
Of course. I mean, that is something that isn't going to destroy my reputation, is it, Kevin? Immediately?
Well, the reason they're doing it this way is they're trying to protect your reputation
Okay. Then
because they
that's what I
also
say.
believe that this man might be a liar.
Of course. Of course.
But they're also, of course, aware of the possibility that you're a medical doctor. He's a
Right.
resurrection man.
Right.
They're following up both possibilities. Either
That's
this
fine.
man is lying or he's not.
And resurrection men are basically corpse stealers out of.
yeah,
Yes.
That's what I
grave
thought. Yep. Yep. Yep.
robbers.
Okay.
Yeah, they steal freshly dug corpses and sell them to anatomists.
Right.
Mm.
Well, Dr. Payne has not worked on a freshly dead corpse since college, so
Yep.
he
Now,
feels he
fun
is
fact,
very
for
well.
those of you who are going to hear about this later, because Mr. Henshaw is going to mention it later without fail.
Yeah, Henshaw.
Yeah. And for that matter, you'll probably find it in tomorrow's news as well. That Mr. Buckwhite, that's a name some of you recognize.
Oh, but I don't.
Mm.
You do not,
Okay,
but
yeah.
Mr. Baker does.
Yes, I asked them the time. What time should I be there? Of course I'll be there.
They expect the proceeding to begin approximately 10 a.m.
Very well. I will I will be there, gentlemen. Thank you
So
very much for your service.
they'll make their exit at this point.
Okay, I shake their hands before they go
Yeah.
and everything.
So they're doing their due diligence here.
Hmm.
And as in, if you're guilty, they're going to find it out, and if you're not, they're going to protect your reputation by not dragging you through this.
Okay.
That's
As
where they come from.
as they leave, are they visible from our perspective in
Oh,
sort of
that's
the
a good
little
question.
library nook?
No, unless you station yourself in the foyer, which you totally
Okay.
could do. You could find an excuse to visit the foyer.
No, I think I'd stay
Henshaw's
with.
there already.
I think I'd
Well,
stay with
Henshaw's minding the
Thomas.
door between the main room and the receiving room.
Yeah, I think I'd probably be willing to stay with Thomas and get like immediately enraptured in like any excuse to flex my brain muscles.
Fair enough. Now, the point is, you will find this out later, and some of you do know Mr. Whitcomb. That is to say, you've heard of him. Mr. Baker, you've done some, shall we say, questionable research.
Wait,
Mm.
Whitcomb. I haven't heard that name
With,
before.
sorry, did I get the name wrong just
I
now?
thought it was Buckwright.
Okay.
Buckwhite, not
Okay.
Buckwhite. That is
Yeah, I
correct.
wrote down
Yeah, sorry.
Buckwright. Okay, but I don't
Yeah,
know him.
you got
So.
it.
Okay.
No, you do not. Yeah, no, Mr. Baker does. Sorry, I'm getting my own names confused. Mr. Baker knows him because have you actually contracted for parts from him, or do you simply know of him?
I
I
think
would
that
What's
I
that?
would know of him.
Okay, you haven't done business with him. You simply know of him.
Yes.
Okay.
Psychology.
What about Mr. Edgeworth?
I would. I'm not running in that circle. I would have heard the name before potentially, just in sort of like but uh, anatomy doesn't really interest me.
Yeah. No, you're
Edgeworth,
more into stuff like occult stuff, right?
Yeah, Edgeworth is more interested in like bones and maybe getting like specific rites concerning like the treatment of the dead in different cultures, but the blood, guts, that sort of
Yeah.
thing makes him a little queasy.
Well, where you know this man from is a story you heard, I don't know, months ago, that said that Buck White is in some kind of cult,
Ooh,
that he belongs to some downtown church that engages in questionable religious practices. Can't say you
involved.
ever followed it up, but it's just one of those things like hadn't given it much thought until you hear that name tonight and went, oh wait, I heard of that guy. He said he was in some kind of cult or something.
So
I don't know.
so basically the moment that like Dr. Payne finishes talking to the men from the magistrate, the servant who is outside the door is already telling everybody else in the entire place.
Oh no, I'm actually simplifying about an hour.
Ah, fair, but
Yeah,
It'll take him a little time to spread this story, but he
very
will do it. Eventually, everybody is going to find out
I'm going to go back to my paper and my sherry.
because Hadshaw can't keep his mouth shut.
That hand job. I'm going to go back to
He
my
is if he keeps this up. By the way, he's not long for this job.
yeah. I'm
Just
going to
saying.
go back to my paper and my sherry, but I'm obviously a little distraught about this accusation.
Now, Mr. Illingsworth, meantime, there's you still lurking in the corner.
Lurky. You're
Um,
muted, Aaron.
People watching.
yeah. Well, the name Buckwhite catches your attention too.
Okay.
Uh, it's probably a coincidence, but you remember a servant by that name
Okay. All right.
at the estate. Don't know if they're related. Could be
All right.
simply someone with the same name. It was a man. Don't remember his first name was I think Jacob or Jack or something like that. And
Okay.
he was dismissed 2 years ago, allegedly for stealing.
Okay. I say we probably keep a pretty modest staff, like
Yeah, so you
pretty
so you
bare
certainly knew him.
bones. Yeah. All right.
And it was your grandfather, I think, who dismissed him.
Okay.
He claimed he had been stealing, and that's why he was fired. So could be the same man turning up in London 2 years later.
Okay.
In fact, if you were to show up at the court tomorrow, you could know if you wanted to, if you cared. Because if you saw him, you recognize him
Oh,
and know if it's the man who was accused of stealing.
Yeah. Why not? I'm curious.
Well, you have anything better to do tomorrow at 10 a.m.?
No.
sleep.
Yeah, I think so. So if you get up a little earlier, you could satisfy your
No. I
curiosity.
knew that was a bad sort.
Yeah.
I could
Well,
see if
supposedly he was a thief.
my suspicions.
and
King
let's,
Richard never liked him.
and let's face it, if he was a thief once, now he's moved on to bigger crime.
Yeah.
He's gone
Yeah.
from small time theft to big time crime.
Yeah. All right.
That kind of makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
especially given when your grandfather dismissed him, getting another job would have been difficult. So odds are he comes to London and ends up becoming a professional criminal. Yeah, that makes sense. Uh, one more point though before before the night is done, which would be Dr. Blythe, who arrives at about 10 o'clock, looking honestly manic. Like, arrives, he doesn't even stop in the foyer to take off his coat or his hat,
Ooh, oh gosh.
just rushes into the main room, pushes past several people, including, incidentally, Mr. Baker and Mr. Edgeworth, just pushes right past the two of you to the bookshelf, like he's looking for something.
Do we all see
Uh,
this?
And oh, everybody sees it
Okay.
because he comes in a flourish like this, pushes past several people. We're still wearing his overcoat,
gasp.
still wearing his hat, and when he gets to the bookshelf, he actually rips several books off it onto the floor in a haste to get to what he wants.
I immediately stand up, like agape, just like, oh my.
You and everybody else.
I'm watching over my paper.
Yeah. So you're maybe the only one who didn't stand up. as a lot of people jump up. Several people like, what, looking like, what was he? Is he something wrong? And he's
Uh,
clearly acting in a way that is, honestly crazy.
my first instinct, or Connor's first instinct, is to apologize to Baker, just being like, terribly sorry. I'll another time as I go up to the the doctor. Uh, Dr. Blythe, are you all right, man?
I'm fine. It's here somewhere.
I'll
As
see
he's
you.
now pulling books off the shelf. He's trying to put them on a table, but the reality is he's pulling them down so fast he's losing track of them.
Okay,
Like pulling books off the shelf looking for something.
yeah, I pick up the books that he's dropping. Like these are priceless. Like this is
Yeah,
yeah,
and not
this
like him
is
at
like
all to treat books that way.
I'll get
this
up and I'm gonna head
is
that direction.
Okay? It's got to be here. It's got to be here. I knew it was here. Oh, and then he grabs the thing that clearly he was looking for.
Can we see what it is? Note of
Those of you who
title.
know, it has no visible title on the
Okay.
outside. Those of you who know the library well, though, uh,
Mm,
pretty sure. Actually, no. You know what? That may take a library use roll for anyone who has that skill.
I do have that
Uh,
skill.
because
I have
because
that
he
skill.
because he pulled things off the shelf so fast,
Right.
it's hard to tell what he's holding.
Ooh. Ooh.
Calling for library use.
48 of 55. That's a regular success.
Okay. Anyone do any
Uh,
better?
fail.
Okay.
I'm too distracted with the books on the floor trying to get them up.
Yep. As far as you can tell,
Mhm.
that volume, because it's an unmarked octavo, pretty sure that's the club's copy of Dr. Hammond's Babylonia.
Oh,
Do I know what that covers, basically?
It's a history of the Babylonian Empire,
Okay.
complete with translations of a number of petroglyphs and stone tablets.
Okay.
Hammond's is largely discredited these days.
Hmm.
Modern researchers do not like many of his translations.
Okay. Do I know Dr. Blythe at all? Because I don't think my character really knows him.
Uh, Probably not.
Just
Although
know, I
he's a
know
member
of
of the
him.
club, so you know him. You know of him.
Right.
As he's a
Okay.
club member, you know him by reputation.
Do I know his
He
name
hold
off the top of my head,
Yeah.
though? Okay.
His name is Martin Blythe.
Okay. So I do know
What
that.
publicly known as he holds the Regius Chair
Oh.
of Theology at Oxford. Although these days most of what he teaches is ancient languages. He's widely regarded, for instance, as London's leading expert on the Hebrew language.
Okay.
Also can work in Aramaic, and is a member of the Orientalist Society, and
Wow.
is preparing apparently to publish a translation of some Sanskrit documents.
Okay.
All of that, of course, is very public knowledge.
Right.
And
So
when
everybody
he
knows
publishes
that.
his next book, the club there'll probably be a celebration at the club
Oh boy.
where people will buy him dinner and there'll be toasts, in celebration of him
Yes.
publishing another book.
Drinking. I love
Yeah.
drinking.
Those of you who are club members who care about this thing can show up that night and, help him celebrate publishing a book.
Yay. Done it before.
Wouldn't be the first time that's happened.
Is everything all right, Dr. Blythe?
It's no. It is. Hold a moment. Hold a moment.
Okay.
And he's paging through the Babylonia until he finds what he's looking for. Kurtzwell was correct. We are. He closes the book slowly, looks up at those of you who are nearby. Oh, this is very bad. Very bad indeed.
Can I gesture to the barman?
Yeah.
I just
Mr.
gesture
Lester.
him to come over this way. Hopefully he'll read into that to bring a drink for Dr. Blythe, who's obviously distressed.
Yeah, he doesn't do that himself.
That's fine.
He
Anybody can.
calls an older man,
Mm-hmm.
one of the old, probably the oldest servant here, who everybody calls Monty.
Monty.
Oh,
I'm just gesturing for
he has Monty has a real name too. It's just that he's the Mountbatten guy, and so he became Monty over the years.
Okay. I'm
And
just
so
trying
if
to.
he has a real name, nobody ever uses it anymore.
I just gesture. I don't say anything. I'm just trying to get them to bring him brandy or something strong because he
Yeah.
obviously needs it.
So, yeah, Lester will pour a drink and Monty will bring it over.
What do you mean, Dr. Blythe?
It makes little sense. I don't wish to burden you with it. I'm quite all right now, thank you.
Oh.
And he looks down at the books he discarded, and then very sheepishly begins picking them up and putting them back on the shelf.
Oh, I'll help. I help Connor and him to try to get these books back.
Okay. It's... Oh, Mr. Edgeworth.
Yes.
I did not see you there in the moment.
You seemed quite taken in a fit. Are you all right, my good
The
man?
tablet. It's the tablet.
Yes, it was stolen.
I know. That's my point. I was twisted around the translation. The word Anzilu occurs in only one other source. As I recall, Plimpton 206, perhaps? I'm not remembering. It's unimportant at the moment. The point is that the word Anzilu, Kurzweil translated it as abomination or monster. Hammond preferred visitor. And I fear it means both. Of course, who would take such a thing? And I feel it hanging. Oh, this is madness. I know. I stop. I will stop. How could such a thing hang in this fashion?
Should I be listening in on their conversation at all?
Oh, absolutely, if you want to.
Oh,
Probably
Many
everybody
people
in
are.
the room is just dead
All right.
still right now.
I'm just
It
making
takes
sure.
It takes an effort not to.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
The Monty hands him the brandy,
Oh,
and he
thank
just
God.
crushes
Yes.
it. He just crushes it. Just
Come to-
boom.
Just takes it. Holy shit.
Yeah, Monty, another here. Let's get him. Let's get him to like a nice chair, like somewhere soft to sit. I take his coat and
Yep.
I hand it off to one of the servants.
Is he still clutching
You'll
the
also-
book?
He'll release it if you take it from him.
I will
also
try
worth-
gently to take it, but if he just
he'll let
releases
it.
it,
He'll
then I'll
let no.
take it.
He'll let it
Yeah.
go if you try to take
I'll
it.
hang on to
Also
it.
worth pointing out, his pants are torn
Oh,
at the knee, and there's actually a smear of blood, as if he fell down and skinned his knee.
Oh dear.
oh,
With your permission, Dr. Blythe,
He
and
hasn't
I'll
even
go
noticed.
down and start to check his knee out. Is he injured?
Yeah.
Like badly?
It's not bad.
Okay,
It's very much, the wound is very consistent with tripping on a cobblestone,
gotcha.
banging your knee, and then jumping back up and keep going without noticing.
Monty, could you bring us a bandage?
Of course, sir. And he'll go to get one. Yeah, the point is that he must have had that much adrenaline pumping, because that would hurt. He's not a young man.
He doesn't seem
That's
to
the
have
kind of thing that
noticed
would
it.
hurt.
How old
Yeah,
is he?
and
60s?
around 55.
55. Okay, yeah.
I don't think anyone is perfectly certain, but 55 is the accepted number.
Is this the
And the fact is
age
that
of
he
washing
skinned his
hands?
knee and, didn't even notice.
oh,
What's that?
Is this the age of washing hands? Are we still thinking that's a faux pas?
No, that is not a thing.
The bandage is just to keep his pants from getting even bloodier.
And to stop the bleeding. I mean, bandages are a
That's
thing.
secondary.
Yeah, the fact that
We are gentlemen.
bandages get reused
Oh,
is a thing as well.
Does he bring me an old bloodied bandage?
No, he brings you a fresh one because
Okay.
it's not like there's been other wounds today.
Okay.
The point is that in situations like, for instance, in battles, bandages will get reused from one wound to another. That's a thing.
All right.
Here, because it's not like you're treating a whole bunch of wounded people, Monty goes and gets what's basically a clean napkin,
That's fine.
which will serve perfectly.
Yeah,
and
I'll
it's in
tie it
fact
off.
clean
I
because
just-
it was
I
ready
just
for
bind
use
it.
on the dinner table.
Yeah, I just try to stop the bleeding and
Easy to do. It's not a serious wound. The issue is that he didn't notice it.
yeah, that is
That the panic he was in, that he must have. Odds are, and in fact, if you want to look a little further, also notice the scuff marks on one of his shoes. He tripped. He was running. He tripped on probably a loose cobblestone, banged his knee, jumped back up, and kept running.
he was possessed. He needed to be here.
Yeah, like he was in a major hurry to get his hands on the copy of Babylonia and look up what he wanted to look up.
Right. Once the doctor is settled and in the care of Dr. Payne,
Yep.
I will sort of return to Thomas Baker. Just my apologies, Mr. Baker. My friend seems to be out of sorts. Would you mind terribly if I excused myself from our sort of impromptu Latin correspondence?
Completely understandable. Have a good day.
Absolutely, it's been genuinely very very interesting, and I wish
More
you luck.
more
Uh,
pressing issues at the moment. Yes.
uh, Feel free to reach out another time. I know a smidgen of Latin, and I'm more than willing to help in any regard that you might need.
And come to think of it, as for Mr. Baker, Dr. Blythe is probably someone you've consulted with occasionally too,
Yes, I hope
because you've been working in other languages, and he's the go-to guy for a number of those.
of course.
In
I hope.
particular, translating texts,
Did
where
you
loan words appear.
yeah do you know Dr. Black?
I have worked with him in the past. He's quite brilliant, but we found him in a awkward situation.
Bit out of sorts, I would agree.
He's a very open-minded man, says Blythe, referring to Baker,
Ah,
out of the blue as he finishes a second brandy. An excellent gentleman.
And an eavesdropper too.
And, well,
aren't
he
we
heard
all?
that, followed
I
by the
I
like that
just
as you apply
tip
the
his hat
bandage.
to him.
We know about pressure, right? Apply a little pressure to the wound to
Yeah, this
stifle
is
the
also the
blood.
point where the adrenaline is kicking out, and now the pain of having banged his knee is kicking in.
Yes, I'm gonna gesture for Monty to bring yet another brandy.
Yeah, he'll take that one. This time he'll actually drink it in a civilized fashion
Painkillers.
rather than simply knock it back. Yeah, it's gonna help there because once the adrenaline is wearing off,
Mm-hmm.
his knee hurts,
Yeah.
no question.
Well, it doesn't appear to be broken, sir. Looks like you just took a
Oh,
fall.
I think I did. I needed to know, and it feels like it's lurking above me.
Actually, look above him, but then look back at him, caught up in the moment.
It's
Could, would you care to explain, sir?
Anzilu, the visitor, the outsider, the
Yes.
thing. It just I can't explain it any further than that. The fact that the tablet references a term that occurs in only one other place,
What? What
and
is that?
Mm.
um, it's he looks around, as in now making a point of those who don't want to hear this should move away.
People do. Other club members do that.
Some many do, yeah, because the excitement is over and they're going back to their business.
Who hangs out? I kind of want to know who that is.
Well, you apparently.
Well, yeah.
Anyone else?
I'm not
I'm
right
not
there, but I'm in the room.
Yep. Well, how many of you are sticking around close to hear this? Because now he's lowering his voice. Now you have to want to hear.
I'd lead
Yeah.
in.
I'd step in closer to listen. Yes.
Okay. And
No, I say
Mr.
I'm still just kind of keeping to myself. If I overhear, I overhear. But
Yeah, no, you will. This is something you will have to pay attention if you want to hear.
gotcha.
So you can advance if
Yeah,
you want. Otherwise, you can make a listen roll, or you can simply ignore this.
yeah, and I failed my listen roll, so
Okay. So yeah, you'll miss this part.
Watermelon,
So
watermelon, watermelon.
so he leans in close. As for the others, only two others seem to be willing. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Seem to be willing to lean in closely.
And I recognize
Uh,
them as I know their names
but
from the club, but I don't really know them very well.
yeah, one
Edgeworth
is
and
Mr.
Baker.
One, yeah, you know those two. You also know Mr. Cameron,
Mr. Cameron's
who
here.
is who is lurking kind of a little at a distance, but clearly paying attention.
Okay.
um,
What do I know of
yeah,
him?
uh, not a whole lot.
Is he?
Cameron is technically the right honorable George Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
He is the distant relative of, I think, the Earl of Mountbatten, which explains his membership here. He doesn't have a job unless you count spending money and whoring as a job,
Well, some people
in
do.
which case he very much does.
What does
Uh,
right
he
honorable say about him?
he it means he's a relative of a titled member of the peerage,
Okay.
but not close enough to hold a title of his own. So I think he's the cousin of an earl, of
What's
the
his
Earl of Mountbatten.
reputation like? I mean, is he
Uh,
a bad
uh,
sort?
he's he's a womanizer, a
Okay.
drug user, party guy. His reputation says if you are a woman and like virtue, you should stay far away from this man. If you are a man and like drugs and parties, you should hang out with this man
And what
because
is
he knows where to find drugs and where to find parties.
in our social circle? Is he looked down upon,
That,
or is he just this
only
is
by the
just
moral.
by the moralist side? Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All
If you
right. So
think
there's
if
no
you
real
think
good reason to distrust this NPC at this juncture.
yeah,
Okay.
if you think too much time spent with prostitutes and too much alcohol is a problem, then you have a problem with this man because he does a
Uh,
lot of that. He also considers himself a poet, although in all fairness, he's published essentially nothing.
okay. Okay.
I believe poet is his official excuse for living the artistic lifestyle.
Mr. Cameron. All right. Thank you,
Yeah,
Kevin, for that information. All right.
yeah. The other is Schultz, the German.
Oh, German Schultz. Okay.
Like we said, we don't know much about him.
We don't know much about him. Okay.
Yeah, other than he comes from one of the German states. He's allegedly in business,
Right.
and from what people say, he's in import-export business.
But the Germans are not
Mm.
enemies of England at this juncture.
But there's also no one Germany.
Oh, that's okay.
Mm.
Germany's kind of a mess right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sort of a small state.
So we don't, and that's the point is we're not actually sure which state he comes from.
Okay.
People have suggested at least three or
All
four.
right.
Nobody's ever confirmed that.
That's fine. Everybody
All we
can
know for
listen.
certain is German appears to be his native language. So he comes from somewhere they speak German,
Okay.
and that's a lot. There's
Just
roughly 40
curious.
somewheres that would fit that bill.
And Illingsworth is just lurking back, has just leaned
Is
back in his dark chair, his high back chair with the wing back chair, and he's sipping at a
Yep.
drink back there in the corner and doesn't seem to care.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what Dr. Blythe, when he leans in, says, the tablet, the Kurzweil tablet, the Plimpton tablet, I don't remember which they call it. My head is, I'm sorry. I think it's in the Kurzweil catalog, not the Plimpton.
Mm.
Doesn't matter. It referred to, the best I can describe it is something that I might call the visitation of Anzilu.
You said visitor or abomination.
Yeah, right,
Correct.
right, right, precisely. As if this is an invitation to such a thing. The way that ancients would call upon their gods to come and aid them in battle or some such. The
Mm.
text feels like that.
Oh,
And so on the surface, it's nothing other than an invocation, a prayer to some long forgotten god. So it has no business making me nervous, but I must tell you, there is more to this, I think.
And
I,
this would be
I
the tablet that was stolen.
yes,
yes,
I
I read about
can't
that.
I can't explain it in any way that would seem anything other than madness. But imagine, if you will, a world like our own, but not like our own, and another, and another, and another, and so forth.
Yes.
Imagine that one could translate these places one to the other. You see what I mean? Madness.
I'm afraid I simply don't follow.
Of course not. I'm
I
working on a
admit,
pamphlet on the subject.
Like moving on a folded piece of paper.
Yes, yes. Actually, excellent.
I look at
Like,
Baker and I'm with a questioning look.
Something like that. He takes a napkin, places his glass on it, folds the napkin. So imagine I am here, and I fold thusly, and the glass, and he moves the napkin, so the glass is now on the other side.
So moving between these worlds that you speak of?
After a fashion, I think.
Hmm.
The only one I've ever seen who approaches such a thing was Al Rafandi, but the Al Rafandi text is untranslated, and I am still waiting on an Arabic reference, which was supposed to have come by post, but the war being what it is, one can hardly trust the post these days.
Are we familiar with the Alafande text, Kevin? We don't know anything about that. Okay.
Yeah, it's other than the name sounds Arabic, and he
Yeah.
mentioned he needs an Arabic translation. So apparently he's planning to learn Arabic to read something by a guy called Al Rafandi.
Okay,
Okay.
the good doctor has had a few at this point. Yes.
Who, me?
Yep.
Or no?
No,
Yeah, he's had like two and a
him.
half.
Yeah,
Doctor,
Yeah.
he drank
he's
two
in he's
quick,
in.
and now he's working on his third of
Oh, he's done with
brandy.
that one. He's on to a fourth.
Oh, he's on a
Uh,
fourth. That's a lot.
This
Okay.
also explains why he's talking, perhaps.
yes.
Does
Uh,
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Graham.
oh yeah, I was gonna want ask. This is all very fascinating, doctor. But uh, do you've had quite a bit. Are you going to be all right getting home?
Oh, we'll call him a cab.
Yes.
I think that would probably be best, although I am honestly uncertain whether I should. I feel like no, I shall. I shall.
What do you feel like, Doctor?
It's pointless.
Kevin, am I picking up that this guy's deranged or
Uh, Anyone who has psychology is welcome to have a throw at that.
okay?
I do not
Crap.
have psychology.
51 out of 50.
Well,
Hey,
remember, you can use luck.
yeah, you can spend a few
Oh,
points.
I hate burning luck. Do we get luck points back ever?
Luck points will come back essentially after each basically
Scenario.
landmark. Yeah, essentially at the end of each chunk or
All right.
chapter.
I will spend 1 point of luck. I hate spending luck. It always bites me in the ass. Wait,
It's
I
just
never
one
played this
point.
game. I don't know what I'm talking about. So that is a regular success.
Yeah. The trick to this is he keeps looking up, like his eyes keep doing.
When he looks up, I look up. You
There's
know what I
nothing
mean?
there.
Okay.
But the point is that he's obsessed with the idea that some visitor is coming,
Hmm.
some abomination, and that it's coming from the sky, and that if he
Okay.
goes outside, he might see him.
But he doesn't seem like he should be put into bedlam.
He's definitely not all together right now. Now, of course, he could
He's
wake up in the morning a lot better.
Yeah. I don't
Maybe
feel.
he's just had
Do
a
I feel
shock
like
and he'll
he's a
be okay in the
danger to
morning.
himself or to anybody else?
Not dangerous to anyone else. He's just afraid that what's going on here is that he's afraid that something is above him, and that if he travels outside, it might see him. That's what
Oh
he appears to be afraid of,
yes.
which is why he's hesitant at first to go home because he would have to go outside.
So it's the outside. It's the fear
He's
of
afraid that there's something above
the
him.
big
He's under a
spaces.
roof. They can't see him inside,
Okay.
right? If there's
I'm
something in the
thinking
air, like a
umbrella
balloon,
is what I'm
yeah,
thinking right
an
now.
umbrella, that actually might help. Because
I'll
what seems to be is that he's afraid that someone above is watching.
Right. I'm gonna get Monty again and ask for an umbrella,
Yeah, he'll do that.
and I'll say, Doctor, I don't mean to be rude, but it does look like it could rain. Perhaps an umbrella would help.
Yeah, yes, actually, capital idea. I shall,
And Monty, could you fetch an umbrella, please?
and he will. Yeah, in other words, he caught on to what you were doing as well, I think,
Yeah.
and agrees wholeheartedly.
Do you have anyone to?
He does want to get home, but he's nervous to do so.
Is there anyone else at home, Doctor? Do you have
No,
servants?
I dismissed the maid. I did
Oh,
not expect to need her, and I'm afraid the boy is currently in hospital.
when he says boy, is that just some kid that
He
runs
employ
errands for him
he
or whatever? Probably.
Yeah, yeah.
Hospital.
Don't actually know the kid's name, but you know he employs a young man.
Okay.
who
Husband.
sometimes works as a servant at the university to run errands,
Hmm.
go to the library to collect things, go to get ink, things he needs when he's working.
Is it rude to ask about this kid? Why
No,
he's in
not at all.
hospital? What happened to him?
He was assaulted during the theft.
Oh,
He didn't hear.
is there someone you could stay with, Doctor? A friend,
Don't think
an
so.
associate?
No, no, I think I'll be all right once I get there. Clearly, they got what they came for.
Yes, let's. Would it? How far away is his house from here?
I,
By
yeah, I don't know.
Not far. You could walk. Uh,
Yeah.
Depends on whether he's going all the way back to Oxford or whether he's staying in town.
Are you staying in town, Doctor?
Yes, actually.
And then I look to the sort of group assembled. Would anybody be willing to help me escort the doctor back to his residence?
Oh, of course, I will come if you wish.
I, it,
Monty,
just,
2 more umbrellas.
we're just really tapping the Monty well tonight.
And have you
Oh,
called the cab?
he's there to. That's his job.
Yeah,
So he's not troubled about it.
yeah.
Getting what you guys need is literally his job.
Oh, of course, I'll come
And
with.
Yeah,
yeah, and he will summon a cab.
I do. Yeah, I begin. Helping the doctor sort of out up and out. He's somewhat wounded still.
I'm gonna slip
Uh,
the book back into the shelf where it belongs before we leave.
Gotcha.
yeah,
Good point. Yeah, and his leg is stiff and that knee is stiffening up a bit.
yeah.
Yeah, so he's limping a bit because now
Mister
the actual pain of the impact is kicking in.
Mr. Baker, would you be willing to join us?
Of course.
Thank you.
Oh, gentlemen, I believe I've made your acquaintance formally. I'm Dr. Fletcher Payne.
Doctor, just I'm Sir Baker. Um, I've admired your work.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, how
I,
kind.
I'm I'm Connor Edgeworth of the Edgeworth family. It's a pleasure to meet you. I've heard you've a stellar reputation.
Oh, Mr. Schwartz, I believe. He
Sir,
was he was there lingering and listening too, right?
he was, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna formally introduce myself. We have not been formally introduced. Is that okay, or is that a breach of etiquette
Well,
to introduce
no, no,
myself?
that's fine.
Okay,
I mean, the truth is these are people you know because they're members of the club.
right, but I barely know
You don't
them.
have to. You don't need a formal introduction. You've
Oh,
met
okay. Well, I won't give one to Schwartz and Connor or
Cameron.
Cameron if they've wandered off after this whole thing. Or are they
Um,
still hanging
well,
out?
Mr. Cameron has actually gone back to the seat he was occupying previously,
Okay.
Mm,
and is now sitting across from who is that? Actually, you don't know that man. He must be a recent member.
a stranger.
That is all
No, he's not a stranger
strange.
because you're in the common room.
Ah,
So he
Oh,
must be someone who joined within the last week or two.
interesting.
but we've never met him.
Never met him. Oh wait, no, 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 no. Actually, has to be Mr. Collinsworth
Mr. Collinsworth. So many people.
because, or Mr. Collins, or is it Collins? No, it's Collins, not
Collins
Collinsworth.
question? Collinsworth? Okay,
Mm,
Mr.
Well,
Collins.
there was a vote about admitting a man. I don't know if any of you voted or not.
Oh, I missed
Didn't know
that
the name.
meeting.
yeah, so
Yeah,
wasn't that
so
either.
that must be. They said they were voting on Mr. Collins, so that must be
That's
Collins.
gotta be him. Okay.
Who else?
Mr.
Ah,
There's a man you don't know who's a member.
that's
How
fine.
many people have been voted on? So it's got to be him.
Oh, I'll introduce myself to him later. We'll,
Yeah.
we'll get to know
So,
each
so
other.
point is don't know him, but process of elimination
What
tells you
about
that's almost
what's
certainly him.
Would I?
German Schwartz?
e-
What's he doing?
Mr. Schwartz has actually wandered off out of the common room
Okay.
and has found his way to the billiard room
Okay.
Good
where
game.
he is trying to get up a game.
Good game.
He apparently heard what he wanted to hear.
And he left.
Yep.
So we
So
have a lot
Cameron
of.
and Collins are hanging out together.
Are they hanging out near
Schwartz,
Illingsworth by chance?
a little bit, yeah.
Okay. That's fine. If they've kind of they listened in, they were nosy, whatever.
Yeah,
We're gonna
well,
take our
Cameron did.
right,
Collins was not,
but
but now
Schwartz
Cameron is talking to
was.
Collins.
Ooh, did we lose?
No.
Hey, we got a
There you
camera. Hey, Thomas Baker.
Woo!
That's awesome. I love seeing people's
Hey.
faces because I do a lot of facial stuff and
Yeah.
expressions. So
Sorry, I need to get one on this computer.
that's okay. That's okay. It's,
That's all right.
um, yeah.
So
Did Monty bring us umbrellas?
yeah, and
Okay.
he will send someone to secure a cab.
Okay.
And
So
long story short, you'll be able to get Dr. Blythe back to his London quarters.
tell me it's cloudy at least.
It's overcast, so yeah, a little bit. Not
Yay.
raining yet. But it doesn't matter because everyone understood the fiction.
No, but we're outside carrying umbrellas. At least I am. I put my umbrella up. I'm trying to comfort him as
You
best
only-
I can.
You only need to do it as far as getting into a vehicle.
Okay. Well, we have to do it when we take him home too,
Yeah.
or wherever we're
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, he's actually renting a room at a place called the Pear Tree.
Okay.
It's a rooming house in Knightsbridge. Modest, but quiet.
Knightsbridge. Was this where he
He's
was
in-
robbed then?
No, the robbery took place in Oxford a couple of days
Oxford. Okay.
Mhm.
And that's a distance.
ago. Part of why you're back in London now. Or sorry, it was Mr. Edgeworth who was doing the etching. Why you're
Yes.
back in London, because that task was now effectively finished.
Yeah, I was
Nothing else to be
previously
done in Oxford.
very excited for it, and now I am very disappointed.
Yeah.
As we're leaving, could I stop and sort of walk over to Mr. Illingsworth?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love you smoking. Like it's very in fiction.
Oh yeah,
But it's mostly pipes in this generation
Yeah.
of English,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Mostly,
yeah.
mostly. But still, yeah, same vibe, same
You get a
vibe.
pipe, Aaron, and you break up that cigarette and you shove it in there, and you can.
If I'm gonna smoke a pipe, I'm gonna smoke pipe tobacco.
I-
I'm
you
not
sh-
putting cigarette tobacco
I think
in that
you
crap.
should get
Yeah.
some tobacco in a pipe and put that as part of your character. I think that'd be awesome.
I got a pipe. I got a pipe somewhere. I gotta find it.
nice.
Yeah, Mr. Illingsworth, I regret terribly that we didn't really get a chance to interact tonight.
That's all right.
No, I remember we had a lovely conversation last week about Cornish pixies, and you were very patient with me, and I quite appreciate it.
Well,
And by patient, I'm assuming we mean you were largely ignoring him while he was.
Yeah,
going on and on.
100%. But
probably yeah.
but it
He
100.
was off in his own other little world at that point in time. Yeah.
It absolutely made Connor's world that like someone was willing to just listen for like more than 5 minutes.
He'll at least pretend to listen for
Illingsworth.
however long one talk to him.
You were so drunk that night. You don't even know what was going on.
So I did want. Yeah, I do regret that we didn't get a chance to speak at any point tonight, but there's always the next night. I'll be here fairly regularly until something else catches my fancy.
What was all that commotion about? I heard something about a visitor or a outsider of some sort.
The good doctor was robbed. His home in Oxford was robbed the night before, and
Oh, that is dreadful.
yeah, it seems to have caused. He seemed to be out of sorts about it. There was a part of one of the tomes here that related to his translation of the tablet, as far as I could tell, that he felt he very much needed to acquire before the night was through. As for the visitor, I'm not sure. He seems. I just sort of stare as the group of men walk away.
Yeah, we're starting to organize.
Yeah, out of sorts. But I appreciate the concern. And it's very kind of you, sir.
Well, it was quite a commotion. Quite.
I wish you a
I know.
pleasant. I wish you a pleasant evening. Enjoy your stuff.
You as well.
Okay, so unless anyone's doing anything else tonight,
Uh-uh.
you'll get Dr. Blythe to his rooming house. And it's the next day that we move to at the magistrate's court.
Oh God. Okay.
Yes.
Oh
Now,
man, I haven't vivisected anybody. Not in a
this is
while.
true. This is true. Now, I don't know if all of you wish to attend, but many of you know. I just lost his name again. The Resurrection Man.
It was a weird
Got
name.
him in a
That's why it's an odd name. Buckwright.
Buck White.
Buck White.
Buckwright.
Buck
Buck
White.
White.
Buck
Yes,
White.
Mr. Buck White.
Wrote it down. That son of a
Yeah,
bitch.
good.
Is it
So
still?
many of you have heard of it, and
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's interest of you to be there, but he's apparently going to appear at the magistrate's court at 10 a.m. That's the Bow Street Magistrate's Court at number 4 Bow Street.
Okay.
That doesn't. I don't think Connor would attend. I think he stays up far too late reading and wakes up probably around 1 p.m.
Well, that's fine if you don't want to. The point is that you may know this man, and
Oh yeah.
from what you've heard, Dr. Payne's reputation may be at stake here. So if you can provide
Ooh.
evidence, that would be something that would help him.
I don't
Illingsworth.
In
know.
other words, if
Knew somebody
This
too,
is-
right?
yeah, all of you. In other
we
words,
knew
all of
of
you.
a Bucksworth that was dismissed from the house.
Yeah.
Yes. Help
That's
me,
right.
Illingsworth. You're my only hope.
Yeah, I
The
don't.
matter is that all the other 3 of you, it would be doing Dr. Payne a favor if you were to show up. I don't know
I'm
whether you
showing
care
up.
about.
I
I don't know
I'm
whether you
just
care
finding
about
out
getting
whether
paid.
this. I'm just finding out whether this Bucksworth I heard of is the same Bucksworth that worked for us. That's all I'm doing, showing up. So,
Well, the point is, if you're there
right.
and the magistrate wants to know, is this man a thief, for instance, you would
Gotcha.
be there to give evidence.
In
If
that
I
case-
found out, it's the same Bucksworth that worked for us, yeah, we threw him out for being a thief. Yeah, so yeah.
That's why
maybe-
it's worth it
okay.
to you to be there.
Yeah.
Because if Dr. Payne is caught up in this, establishing that this Buck White man is not an associate of his and is a thief and a criminal, gets Payne off the hook easily.
I'm a
If
club man.
sorry. Yeah, if the doctor mentioned it while we were escorting Dr. Blythe back home, if he mentioned, "Oh, I've got an appointment at the magistrate's tomorrow, so I need to get home quickly," then I would be more. It would make more sense to me that then Connor would show up.
Well, the rumor did
Yeah.
kind of circulate from
Yeah.
freaking the hell was his name? Henshaw.
And sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Henshaw's
you knew from Henshaw,
Yeah.
so you'll know it before you leave to take Blythe home.
I don't
Yeah.
see I don't see Dr. Payne like he's more concerned with Dr. Oh crap. Blanked on his name.
With
Blythe.
Dr. Blythe.
With Dr. Blythe right now because Dr. Blythe seems to be quite distressed.
One is you don't need him to tell you that. You knew that already.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really a question of for you and for that matter for Mr. Edgeworth, it's really a question of whether you're willing to get up in the morning to do Dr. Payne a favor.
Ah.
In that case,
Sorry.
Connor would have a sort of grim curiosity, and he'll march down to the magistrate's office. He will be very grumpy.
Yeah, it's a nice thing. It's a nice thing to do, and honestly, it's something about being in a club is one of the things that's kind of expected of a club member
Okay.
is things like this.
Yes,
Like if you can
solidarity.
help someone else, you do it.
Okay.
Because
Thank
it costs
you for the thank you for
costs
the
you little.
justification, Kevin.
Yeah,
I was
well, it
having
costs
trouble
you
with
little and may help your reputation. You know that you're the kind of guy who can be counted on. Think about what that does if someone needs you, if you need some help later, and people say, "Well, he showed up and spoke up for me." That you got a better chance than if you need help, someone else to show up and speak up for you.
Mm.
So that's why one. I mean, I'm not pointing at you. By no means you have to do this. The point is that there are good reasons if you care about such things.
Help me. Help me.
That's up to you whether you care about such things.
I don't know. That Dr. Payne, he gave my dog a bad diagnosis.
I'm not a vet.
If he gave your dog a bad diagnosis, that's because you should go to a vet, not another doctor. That's on you
But-
for choosing
Actually,
the
I
wrong
looked
guy.
it up. A lot of rich people would take their dogs to regular doctors, as opposed to there weren't really veterinarians in this
Yeah,
era.
not so
I don't
much.
believe. So rich
not-
people would take their dogs to actual doctors, but Dr. Payne probably didn't see your dogs if you're up in Bigglesworth or whatever the name of that town was.
Okay.
And
know?
you have a good practice anyway. You don't need a dog. You've got people knocking on your door.
Oh, I'm sure I would see a dog if some upper class lady really needed me to help her dog. I would help. Oh, it's the only right thing
True.
to do. It's so
True.
kind.
Okay, so is anyone skipping the magistrate's court?
No, I'm not.
We're looking at you, Baker. Okay.
Okay. When you get there in the morning, you'll find, of course, most of you will get there around, I don't know, about 9:30-ish. You know, the magistrate's court is a bloody, angry mess. It always is.
Yay.
There are people shouting. People are being hauled in front of the magistrate to be accused of a crime, and then to either be arrested and hauled off to an actual jail or to be released at this point. So, in other words, there's a lot of shouting, a lot of screaming, a lot of angry people. You can sort of expect people who are being accused of crimes the kind of language they use. There's also people gathered in the back who are very clearly here for the show.
I am here for the show.
Like my club
Like-
members. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll recognize, of course, several of them. Point of the matter is that for some people, this is entertainment. Watching people begging and pleading and swearing and screaming and all of
It's
that.
the times of Jerry Springer.
Exactly. Very much a bit of that, yeah. And when they finally get to this Mr. Buckwhite, those of you who knew him will recognize him.
Oh, yes.
That is Jack Buckwhite.
Jack
Okay.
Buckwright.
He's changed. In particular, since Mr. Illingsworth knew him back when, 2 years have been unkind to him.
Okay.
He's got that kind of deep stare that comes from what's probably trauma. He's got what appears to be a scar creasing the left side of his forehead that wasn't there 2 years ago.
Left side.
In other words, he's had a hard life since last you saw him. And of course, being accused of being a grave robber is not making his life any easier. Are all of you actually, when the magistrate opens the floor, is anyone willing to speak up? Because the magistrate will actually ask at one point, does anyone else know this man?
Oh.
And open the floor to say, whoever knows this man is welcome to just step forth and speak.
I mean,
That's Baker.
if there was at some point, or would that be like after the accusations, for this Jack Buckwright?
Yeah, he's
So,
been
yeah,
accused
I mean-
of being a resurrection man. He's been accused of grave robbing, and there's whispering, but it doesn't come out yet. But those of you in the gallery will hear it, that there is a whisper going about that he is also to be charged with murder.
Ooh.
Okay.
That one of the corpses he may have supplied was not a corpse
I'm glad I didn't hear that.
until
My
he
character
fixed that problem.
doesn't want to know this.
Yeah,
Say,
he failed. Short of corpses, he decided to create one. Apparently,
Yeah, I mean, at some point, it would come up then that I'd let him know that he was dismissed from our manner of theft, like for the reason of theft. That's basically all he would say in that aspect.
yeah, and the judge, the magistrate will turn to the clerk, who will ask your name, ask you if you any details you remember of what was stolen. I don't know if you actually knew any of the details.
Probably not, but
So you tell them what you do know, that he was dismissed. It was your
Yeah.
uncle who dismissed him. He was accused of being a thief. You don't know for a
I
fact,
thought you
but
told, I thought you told me my grandfather dismissed
or
him.
was your grandfather?
Yes.
Oh, was your grandfather?
I did say
Okay.
grandfather, yeah.
Yeah. So point is, you're telling what you do know, which isn't a lot, but it is the fact that he was dismissed he was accused of being a thief and dismissed from his job.
Right.
Which, of course, will weigh into the evidence. This is law enforcement 1811 style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Modern investigation's not a thing.
Kind of surprised.
Deciding someone is a thief based on the last,
Yeah, kind of surprised they haven't just beaten a confession out of him by this time.
that may be coming later.
Okay.
Remember, he was arrested last night.
They had like 8 hours.
Yeah.
They're
And
letting
it
him
seems that-
simmer.
It also seems like the story people talking about murder, that seems to be much more recent. Like someone discovered that more recently.
Okay.
Mm.
My character
As
doesn't know
if-
about that. I'm not in the gallery. I'm down.
Yeah, those of you in the gallery will know that. Does anyone else step up and say anything? No.
Not to the resurrection man. Uh, I will have
I
her
mean,
speak up when
to
it
the
comes to
magistrate.
the. Oh, well, I will. No, sorry, not in regards to Resurrection Man, who I don't know, but
Yeah.
when it
Yeah.
does come time for the doctor, then I will testify to his honor and
Okay.
valor.
And that's a thing they'll bring up too, is to say that, that this man who's clearly a criminal named Dr. Payne, Dr. Fletcher Payne, as an associate, and we want to know, does anyone know about that? And of course, you and several others will stand up to say, no, that's untrue. Dr.
Why?
Payne is an honest and
Several
honorable man. He wouldn't
others.
have done that.
That's so sad.
Several there. These are not the only members of the Mountbatten Club who are here.
Aw,
That includes, by the way, Mr. Cameron.
Yeah.
Mr. Cameron's on my side. Sweet.
Yay.
Yeah, who also shows up and tells the magistrate that you are an honest and upright man, and to his knowledge, had no such business with this man. So you've got a number of people stepping up and saying that Whitcomb is a liar.
Yeah,
That
I've
he
never
dropped
met.
your name, or sorry, with Buck White. I keep calling him Whitcomb.
That's okay. I've never
That
even
Buck White.
actually met this guy. Have I?
No,
Okay.
no.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
You may have been in the same room as him at some point, but as far as you know, you never exchanged more than a word with him. Best, you recognize his face.
From where?
Uh,
Is he a
Probably
patient?
from your no, probably from a meeting in a inn where you were talking with some medical students.
Oh, he wasn't a medical
Who
student, was he?
No, but he was probably talking to one of the students. He was
Interesting.
probably there to exchange words with one of the students.
Hmm.
In other words, you were in the same room as him at one point,
Yeah,
and that's the
years
extent of it.
ago. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
But
do.
you were in
Okay, I
this.
do recognize him. Okay.
No, it wasn't. That was only last year.
It was
It
last
wasn't
year.
years ago. It was last year. But the point is, you were in the same room as him for like 60 seconds,
Okay.
and that's the extent of it. So he might have been meeting with one of those students. Don't know which one.
And that might
So
be where he
one
got my name too. Okay.
that's almost. In fact, that's almost certainly where he
Yeah.
got your name,
Yeah.
because he knew your name and knew
Those
nothing else about you.
rascals.
So
Right.
one of those students must have mentioned you, and he pushed when they arrested him and they
Okay.
demanded a name. He just first thing he could think of.
Do I have to testify?
You are welcome to if you wish.
What's it going to look like if I don't? Well, okay,
How
I
much?
will just simply say I do not know this man and I've never met him.
Okay, that'll do.
And
I
that's
was
a
going to say
lie. That's the
if you want a better
truth.
sense, there would be a law roll to know whether it would be wise or not.
Okay, I'll make a
And
law roll, but my law is probably in the dumper here. Oh
yeah, I
boy,
expect most of you don't have any
5%.
points. I expect most of you have very few points in
I
law.
thought about talking to my solicitor, but I thought, that seems extreme for this. No,
Yeah,
69. Does that still
no,
succeed?
no.
Ah.
So
Okay,
don't know
so
whether you're
How
helping or
many
not. So
luck?
just
How many luck points do you
shut
have?
up. I'm not going to
yeah, no,
spend 64 luck points. Um,
yeah.
I don't have that many. Oh shit. So I don't know whether or not it would be good to. Oh, fuck.
So just go and do it then. So
Yeah,
when the
I'm just gonna
magistrate
say
asks,
that
say
I've
you
never
don't know
met
this
this
man.
man. I don't know who he is, and that'll
Okay.
be the testimony that I will provide unless they want more
Yeah.
or they ask
What catches
questions.
your attention though is at the end
Hmm.
when the whole thing is over, and the whole process takes about 30 minutes, which is longer than some of the previous hearings. Definitely. Most of them are much simpler because most of the previous cases, the few you guys in the gallery saw, were basic theft. Like, did this person steal from you? Yes, he did. Is that your watch? Yes, it is. Okay, good.
You're
Indict
guilty.
him. Move on.
Off to Australia.
Uh, or to the gallows.
Oh shit! For stealing a watch.
Oh, it's
That's
the bloody
terrifying.
code. The
Yeah.
bloody code is still in effect.
Okay.
Until 1823, the penalty for almost all property crimes is technically death by hanging.
Damn.
Now, in
That's
reality,
scary.
that's often not enforced,
Okay.
but it can be. What eventually happened, and the reason that the 1823 law changed, was because juries stopped convicting.
Oh, because somebody
Because
could
if
be
the
put to death
penalty,
for stealing a loaf of bread or something.
yeah,
Okay.
The
So they're
worst
like
case was
innocent.
an 11-year-old who was hanged for stealing what's basically a shirt.
Oof.
That's the point, is that juries
That's...
stopped convicting. Because if you
Oh, there's a jury.
convict, the guy dies.
Yeah. Okay.
So the juries just stopped convicting until they said, okay, let's change the law.
It is a bit harsh.
Yeah, it really is. Property crimes are they take them very seriously.
Capitalism.
Now, of course, there's also, transportation and other such things that figure in. So the reality is not everybody who's convicted is executed.
Right.
But the fact is that hangs over every potential property crime conviction, even down to effectively shoplifting.
That's terrifying. Okay. So,
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry I interrupted.
Yeah, no,
Go
that's
ahead.
fine. So, point of the matter is that the other ones were simple. This one goes on a while, for a full half hour. But when it's done, it's the part that catches your attention. Because when the magistrate asks if he has anything to say before he's taken to Tyburn jail, what he says is, when the visitor gets here, you will be sorry.
Oh.
And the magistrate asks him who he means by that, and he says nothing further.
I assume that creates some bit of gossip and uproar in the crowd.
Stir.
Most people it doesn't do much for, because it sounds like just something stupid. A visitor? Someone's going to come to jail and visit him?
Except for the 4 club members who are there, and Cameron, maybe.
Yeah, there are 5 people in this room who are going to get a chill from that. For everybody else, it sounds like he's threatening someone's going to come visit him in jail, which doesn't sound like much of a threat at all.
Yeah, that does immediately strike a chord.
Well, I don't know his cult connections personally, so
Find out.
But what's his face? But Dr. I cannot remember his name. Blythe.
He might know.
Visitor Abomination.
Yep. He didn't call it by the Sanskrit or Babylonian or whatever it was, Anzilu, but he did use the word visitor.
That pops. Yeah.
Yeah, which is what Blythe was talking about, as if he knew that.
He definitely capitalized it as well.
Yeah, and he was very clearly a threat. The magistrate, of course, did not take it seriously at all. It doesn't sound like a threat to the magistrate. As in, if someone comes to visit you, that's what jailers are for. The visitor can come if they're allowed or not. Doesn't trouble him. It's you guys and Cameron who understand that comment meant more than anyone else in this room understands. And then, of course, they come and they take him off to Tyburn.
And then I can go.
Yeah, you're done here. You don't have to stay if you don't want to. They're convinced that he lied about you, that he was involved in whatever he was involved in. So in other words, they're sending him to Tyburn, where he'll be indicted, and there'll be a jury trial.
Okay.
On the charge of body snatching, theft, and if the rumor you heard was correct, murder.
Ooh, I'm going to keep up on that with the times. I'm very interested in this case at this juncture because I'm very curious. So I'm going to keep an eye out for his name in future newspapers.
All of you can find stuff out about that right away because people in the courthouse are talking about it.
I'm going to listen in.
So anyone who wants can listen to hear that they're saying that Mr. Buckwhite is apparently being accused of a murder.
Is it Buckwhite or Buckwright?
Buckwhite.
White.
The
Okay.
W.
I've had that wrong the whole time.
Yeah, I thought you were saying right as well.
Yeah, no, with a W.
Buckwhite. Sorry.
I was still putting right with a W as well,
yeah,
but.
So was I.
Oh yeah, no. Drop W, yes, R, no.
Okay.
Apparently, a woman named Mary Tavers was found dead this morning. And from what you're hearing, from what people are saying, is they believe she was murdered last night near midnight, which is shortly before Buckwhite was arrested.
What about his body snatching charge? Are there any details that rumor is stirring around?
Nothing that's concrete at this point, other than the fact that apparently the last body he tried to sell was a man. So it can't be Tavers.
Right.
The assumption is that he murdered Tavers, intending to sell her corpse. And from what you're hearing, the story is that the reason he didn't do it was because he was interrupted by someone visiting Tavers' house.
They caught him.
So he heard someone coming and ran away, and was then seen running away and was caught. Also, one rumor claims that the person who alerted people
Hmm.
was a man who was coming to visit Mary Tavers, who was planning on a midnight visit for reasons that people normally visit a woman at midnight,
She
but she's married to
prostitute.
somebody else. No, she's not a prostitute.
Oh.
No, the assumption is she was cheating on her husband.
Oh.
He's away. He's a sailor.
Is he gone? Is this
He's
sailor
he's at sea.
supposedly
Yeah, he's at
immediately
sea.
gone? Okay. Okay.
No, that is almost certainly true. He's a sailor. He's apparently at sea and
So
will
he
not be back for some time.
called in the Bow Street Runners, and then immediately his ship set sail, probably this morning or something with the
No,
tide.
he's been gone. He's been gone for weeks. Now, the point is that
Her
Mary
husband,
Tavers,
her husband's a
the
sailor.
husband's been gone. Yeah,
How about the
her husband is a
witness?
sailor.
Who
Uh,
is there any names on
we
the
don't know.
guy who?
We don't know his name at this
Okay.
point,
Okay.
but that's probably because he was probably visiting her for the purpose of conducting an affair. Knocked
Oh.
on, and the story is he knocked on the door, saying basically, "Miss Tavers, let me in. I'm here." And the murderer was inside, heard someone knocking, and fled out the back.
Busted out the back door. Okay.
In other words, he thought he had time to collect the corpse and leave with it, and then someone is knocking on the door, so he fled without the corpse. That's the story they're telling right
Wow. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Whether it's true, we don't know, but that's the story they're telling around the court.
Okay.
The part you can confirm by the end of the day, if you're interested, is a woman named Mary Tavers was in fact murdered. That part is true. Whether Jack Buckwhite did it is a different issue, but
Yeah, but
a
that's
murder took place. That is clear.
so weird.
Someone cut Mary Tavers' throat with a knife.
I'm curious. What do we know? What cemetery the Resurrection Man was taking bodies from?
Not necessarily, although a little digging might find that out.
Dig away, Thomas Baker.
Yeah, I went there. I did. So the point of the matter is, if you want to find out over the next couple of days, there's a couple of things you can do if you're curious to follow up.
I need a newspaper.
One is you can learn if Buckwhite had any cult connection. Dr. Blythe probably knows that. Two, asking around will turn up the name of the cemetery where he was supposedly robbing. Now, I don't know if any of you are following up any of this.
Well, was he for certain robbing a cemetery, or was he just killing people and then turning over them to people to
From
sell
what
the
you've heard, his
bodies?
original plan was robbing the new graves that were recently dug.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then when
Okay.
that stopped working as well, he started creating bodies of his own.
I
So the
want to check
original
in.
plan was steal the dead. Plan B was make the dead.
I'm going to check in with Blythe. That's my main thing, to see how he's doing.
Mhm.
That is going to be my main thing. I don't know about the cult that
Okay.
Buckwright was in. I think Graham knows that, but whatever. Um, I don't know about any of this, so my character probably wouldn't pursue this whole cult angle. But that was weird about the visitor that he
Yeah.
mentioned. That totally jives with what Blythe was saying. So I want to check in with Blythe sometime in the next day or two.
Yeah, my
Okay.
instincts exactly. I would have gone to do the exact same thing.
Can we show up at his door at the same time?
That's what I was thinking.
I was actually thinking about checking up on this visitor as well.
Oh,
So
Mr. Illingsworth, Dr. Payne.
So you may, in fact, or at the very least, if not the exact same time, while one of you is present, another one, and then a third.
potentially,
Yeah.
yeah.
Potentially.
And
Blythe
that
is
leaves,
cool.
I believe, Mr. Edgeworth. Are you joining that parade as well?
Yeah.
Baker's checking in on where the resurrectionist man was stealing bodies from.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're doing that. Gotcha.
I think
Yeah.
that's what he
Okay.
mentioned earlier.
Okay,
So
so
we're splitting the party.
so
It's
uh,
called
so
Cthulhu. We have to. It's
Yeah.
the rule.
I
so
love it. I
long
love it.
to sum up, from Dr. Blythe's, what you can learn, and I sum up because this is several days worth, basically.
Okay.
Is from Dr. Blythe you can learn that he was working on translating the tablet. And as we know, the word Anzilu occurs in only one other tablet, and he had the two different translations of it. The fact is, he doesn't know which translation is better because it can't be placed in context otherwise. It's one of those words that what made the tablet that was stolen so exciting was the fact that it's the second time the word occurs. It exists in only one other place. He is convinced that the other tablet is in fact an invocation, a prayer, and that the thing he's calling Anzilu is what's being invoked.
Where's the other tablet?
That he's not certain.
One was stolen. How does he know about the other one?
The other tablet was discovered by a French expedition.
French.
A translation of it was published in 1794. That's the Kurzweil translation. He's working from that. So Kurzweil provided the original text transcribed and Kurzweil's translation of it.
Okay.
But
In a
without
collection
without
tablets.
but without the tablet that he had, the translation is incomplete.
Exactly. He's got his transcription of it, but that's all he's got, and his notes in translation. He was working his way through it when the thief broke in and stole it.
I'm also going to check his knee. If there's infection, I'll scoop it out or whatever.
He's getting better there.
Okay,
yeah, he's getting better there.
Okay.
Yeah, that was just a nasty bump.
Okay, cool.
His boy apparently is recovering too, and can confirm that he did not see the attacker. That someone grabbed him by the shoulders and pulled his head into a wall.
Oh. Okay.
He hit his head against the wall and he lost consciousness. When he woke up, he was in the hallway outside the professor's room, and the attacker was long gone. What he can confirm as well is that the attacker knew what they were after, as nothing else was taken.
Okay. Is Blythe staying in London?
Granted, yeah, he is. Granted, Blythe keeps most of his valuable stuff back at Oxford, so there wasn't much else worth stealing. But if the motivation was robbery, in Blythe's room at the Pear Tree are a dozen books, a magnifying lens, paper and ink, about 20 pounds worth of coins. In other words, if the motive was robbery, there were a lot of other valuable things the thief could have made off with.
So they stole it from here at the Pear Tree.
Yeah, he brought it with him to work on in London
at the time.
Yes,
helping him like an assistant, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to go pee.
Yeah.
Because I'm old. Continue without me. I'll be right
back.
So
that's what you guys will get from Blythe.
Okay.
As for the cult connection, all Blythe is aware of is that he believes that this guy was associated with something that calls itself the Church of Starry Wisdom, which operates out of what used to be St. Anne's Church in Limehouse. He hasn't been there himself, but he's heard about it.
Ooh, Limehouse. Ooh.
And the reason he's heard about it is because it is not. The reason he's heard about it is because the Bow Street Runners have frequently rounded up members of the Church of Starry Wisdom, accusing them of theft. That they believe the church is funded largely by robbery. That many of its members are effectively just nothing other than thieves.
Interesting.
And that it's really less of a church and more of an organized robbery scheme. It calls itself a religion.
Why don't they shut it down?
I'm not going to make any jokes, but Kevin, we've been playing for 2 hours. Would now be a good time for a break so people can.
We can do that.
We definitely have to.
Yeah. Well, you guys will take a break, but let me talk to Josh for a moment then.
Yeah.
Because he's gone off to do a different thing.
I'm all ears.
So as for you, you're digging into where this guy, where I keep losing his name, Buckwhite, where Mr. Buckwhite was robbing. And what you'll find is largely he was doing this in the Metropolitan Cemetery, because there you get a number of burials of the poor. So his focus was largely on the Potter's Field.
Okay.
Place where people without resources are buried.
Where are the affluent buried?
The places that are not that. There's a lot of private cemeteries. In other words, his focus was on the poor because who's going to miss them? And those burials are done cheap and not as deep. He was working with a gang. You won't score any identities on them right away, but it's clear he was not doing this alone.
My main concern was that he was going to go dig up my dead wife.
Is you well you're not poor, right?
No, no, no. So I was just thinking, like, was this
Yeah.
shared cemetery? Like, I didn't know what kind of bodies were being taken up, and my concern was that
Yeah.
I was gonna have to guard.
Yeah, no, not anyone you know. This is the burials for our poor people. So you can rest easy on that account.
Okay.
And you'll also learn that by the second day he has been indicted for the Tavers murder. Whether he
Yeah.
did it is a different issue, but he's going to go to trial for the Tavers murder.
Okay. I haven't learned anything the others have, so I'm still kind
Well,
of in the
you know where he got the bodies from,
yeah.
and you also know that he did not operate alone. And if
Mm-hmm.
it's true that the cult of Starry Wisdom or the Church of Starry Wisdom is in fact a criminal gang, give you even money that his fellow grave robbers are members of that group.
Mm. Okay. Copy.
And they got a location as to where this group allegedly operates from. So between what you've got and what they've got, you've got a potential location in terms of who these people are and what they do. And this would be much less important if he hadn't mentioned one, he hadn't mentioned the visitor, and two, these people call themselves a cult or a church, which is, in all fairness, a little odd for people whose real function is robbery. Very few robbers bother calling themselves a church. They just call themselves robbers. No need to, get fancier about it. Yet these people do.
Good to know.
All right, so let's take a moment then. I'm gonna go get a drink.
All right.
All right.
Hold
Have a good break.
on. I think I am. Oh.
Oh my. What is going on in London? Roger Twee says everything points to the Mountbatten Club. Their members are all over the place, every step of the way. Oh, I hear chattering. They're barely better than Catholics. Oh, how dare you, sir? The Mountbatten Blood Club has no Catholics. We're all good Anglicans here. Whew. I grabbed some Chex Mix. Oh, I didn't grab something to wipe my hands off because it is a little greasy. Anybody who's still watching, I appreciate it a lot. I don't know what Thomas Baker learned. So there's that. But he has put up a picture in in our investigator picks, which is one of the pictures we actually considered because I helped Illingsworth to get his character set up, as I have a copy of Regency Cthulhu. This is going completely different from what I expected, to be quite honest. I don't even know what that little symbol is there, ultraviolet. What the heck is that thing? I can't even I can't even really look at it. What do you think so far, Aaron?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think I may have made up a wrong kind of character. Is
Why?
what I'm thinking. I don't know.
No. No, I disagree. Anybody can play. You could play a hobo, and I'm playing a multimillionaire, and a good keeper is going to find a way to get our characters in on the same
Well,
thing. The place is empty.
I guess I don't know. I want to say I have my guy as being a little more standoffish, and he's definitely not a people person, is what I'm getting at.
Yes,
So
but he's a club member,
yeah,
and we are all members of the club.
yeah.
Um,
So
I
yeah.
like that I finally found out there's some kind of cult going on because I'm glad that Blythe pointed that out to us. It's a cheers.
Oh,
It's a
is everybody
cheers.
back?
Cheers. I don't
Oh,
know.
we're still missing a couple. Oh,
Uh, I think we have. Yes,
oh,
there's Baker.
okay.
Baker, your voice is awesome, by the way. When you would come in and you would say things, I'd be like,
Mhm.
"Ooh, I like his voice."
Thank you. I have to do a push to talk on my laptop because I don't have a mic.
Gotcha.
And if I have an open mic, it's just going to echo and be weird.
Oh yeah, that's
Gotcha.
okay. I usually
Yeah.
push to talk because most of the time I don't shut the fuck up ever for the entire game. Aaron can tell you that.
I can get that.
That's why I like this mic. All right.
Ultraviolet
Is
says you need a hot toddy, Kevin.
oh
Hot toddy. You need a hot toddy.
oh yeah. Instead, I just have diet drink.
That's not as good as a hot toddy.
It is not, no, but
That's
it is
Josie.
caffeinated.
Josie says
Yeah,
that.
I know.
Okay.
It is caffeinated and feels good on the throat right now. I can't read what that is. You're holding a can.
Bell's Two Hearted American IPA.
I have fallen back on lovely PBR.
PBR.
Oh, because I got it for bacon bread and it needs to be drunk because it doesn't make very good bread.
Yeah, I don't. Truth is, I don't drink much anymore. I used to.
I'm a
But
social drinker.
between diabetes and gout, I
Oh,
tend to drink
you
very little these days.
quit eating all that iron-rich liver, Kevin.
Yeah, no, it's that. But alcohol turns out to be one of the triggers for me for gout.
It can, yeah.
Okay.
So part of the reason I drink very little now is because it's the fastest way to a gout outbreak.
But
Although I have drugs that control it, so I
Okay.
haven't had an outbreak.
hot toddy
quite
is
some time.
medicinal, though.
Yeah, I know.
It's what Dr.
What?
Payne recommends for almost every illness.
Oh yeah, good for gout, no doubt.
Obviously.
Yeah, not so good.
Not so good for your type of gout, apparently,
Oh,
but
God, no. It is. Let me tell you, it is the worst pain I have ever experienced.
Oh,
Okay.
geez, I'm sorry.
The first time it happened, I didn't know what it was, and I don't say this, easily, but there was a point where I was almost suicidal. The pain was so bad.
oh,
I'm sorry to hear that, Kevin. That sucks.
It was. Yeah, it's like imagine your leg is on fire with 1,000 tight needles inside it for 4
Mhm.
days.
That's
I
terrible.
have heard shingles is quite painful.
I had shingles
Yeah, that I have not had.
when
Thankfully.
when I was living in Hicksville. I got shingles. I didn't know what it was.
Oh, really?
Scott Allen's like, it looks like ringworm. Maybe you got ringworm. And I finally went to the doctor. She's like, oh, it's shingles. Here's pills. This will fix you up in less than a week.
Did it?
Okay.
Did it hurt?
Yes. So I had it here and on my back, and it literally
Ooh.
felt like something was running right through my body.
Oh
It
God,
was
yeah, that is pretty
very
bad.
bad. I don't know if it could compare to gout, but it was very painful, and and I didn't have any insurance or anything at that time, so it was just like going to the doctor was a major thing.
Yeah.
and then she prescribed me some medication. Boom, it was done.
Penicillin. Maybe.
I don't have any
Wow.
idea what. Probably. I
Yeah.
mean, whatever kills shingles, but it sucked. It was not pleasant. But I'm old, so. But I was like
Uh,
30 when I had that.
According to my mom, I may never get shingles.
Well, good.
Because you had chicken pox.
No, because according to my mom, I've never had chicken pox.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because I had chicken pox as a kid, and then it came back as shingles later.
Yeah. Apparently, if you had chicken pox, it can come back as
Okay.
shingles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I keep an
Not.
eye out
It's
now, and
not.
if I get a spot that looks where you start getting, it starts with itching. It's itching at first, and then it turns into this pain, and
Oh,
I try to just keep an eye out.
But I've heard of people getting it on their face. There was one guy, well, he didn't come into the shop with it, but he was like, the doctors was concerned because it was so close to his eye. They were worried about it affecting his vision.
oh,
Faith's
shoot.
mom got it in her eye, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
Okay. All right. So on a happier note,
Graham,
Yeah.
are you back? Graham can't hear us.
Graham, you there?
Or we can't hear him.
Well, he's
well,
muted and deafened, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. He
he's
is.
he's something just happened.
I
No,
see
he's
nothing.
still listed as muted and deafened.
Yeah, but it like disappeared for a second and came back. Oh, by the way, Thomas Baker, the picture that you're using as your character was one that Illingsworth considered using. We found it on a
Yeah.
I forget
Oh
where I
yeah.
found it, but I like that picture.
Hi, I'm back.
Welcome
I
back.
quickly found it.
Okay. Looks like Graham
Sorry
is
about
back. That's
Sorry
okay.
about that.
I like it. That actually helps me to picture Illingsworth.
Yeah. So
I'm not
we'll,
sorry.
we resume then in a couple of days. So it's been a couple of days you've been doing all of this, and at some point, of course, you'll all cross paths again at Mountbatten's Club. I don't know whether you're the type who will share what you found out at any point.
Well,
Well, three of you were together. One of
kind
you
of
was not.
together, yeah. So,
Yeah.
I did want to
So,
ask about like this visitor. It seemed like this Buckwhite was threatening. Like I felt threatened or whatever when he made that last accusation in court.
well,
That when
you
the
could
visitor
also
comes, we'd all be sorry or whatever.
you could go, visit him.
No, I don't want.
oh, oh, is
I don't
that's
know
You
if
gonna
the.
could,
look bad if I go though, isn't it?
that is the problem of reputation.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
not gonna visit him. It could, yeah, that'll mess me up.
Well,
So,
that depends. Actually, that depends. It could
okay.
either be good or bad for you. Because if you're going there, it could either be looking like you lied and you do know him,
hmm
or it could be a case of you are going to stomp this guy for dragging your name down. So
Damn it,
it could
Kevin.
play out either way, depending on how you play it.
Mm.
How's your etiquette?
My etiquette is only like 30. It's not super great. So, um, Doctor,
So it might
Doctor.
behoove you to go with someone else.
Oh, that's true. God, I wonder if
Yeah.
I'm gonna approach Edgeworth. I know him the best. I
Yes, Doctor.
think more of Edgeworth than Illingsworth or Baker. I think. Because I've spoken to
Well,
Baker, but I haven't really.
remember, you know everybody from the club. Just a question
Right,
of who
right.
you
But
know
Edgeworth
across
actually
the
came with me to
He
take
did.
Blythe back home. So I might approach Edgeworth and see if he'll accompany me to the prison. And because I or he could go himself. I feel like it is important.
Yeah, or maybe someone goes instead of you.
Yeah, yeah. Could Edgeworth go talk to this guy?
Admittedly, not what I planned for my afternoon, Doctor, but I I certainly it gets me out of the house.
I'm afraid my association with this man might put a black mark
No,
on my.
I completely understand, and uh, my name is already sufficiently
Perhaps you could
muddy.
take Illingsworth with you. He came to see Doctor Blythe, and he seems kind of a rugged sort. You know.
I'm
And
intrigued. I'm intrigued by this fellow and would like to visit him.
Okay, so Baker's in on this
Okay.
conversation too.
So
three of
maybe
us.
it actually is. It could be all four of you then,
Um,
unless you're also
Yeah,
inviting Mr.
perhaps.
Cameron. But I don't know how much you trust him.
perhaps if we made it a group effort, then we could sort of spread out the hits to our reputation, spin it better.
Yeah.
I don't want to
We
go.
could angle it in a way that we have come to visit him and rough him up.
Oh dear, that
Or,
seems very unkind.
or better yet, we could be forcefully requesting a retraction of his derogatory comments of the good doctor's name.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Um, um, I think I would probably try to include Cameron in on this. He did stand up for me in court. He is a member of the club.
This is true.
Um,
Although you won't be able to find him that day. He's not at
okay,
Mountbatten's club.
that's fine. Also want to question him at some point in the future about this new member because I haven't met
Yeah,
him yet. I need to meet everybody.
this is true. So for the moment, then it's the four of you to
Yeah,
go to Tyburn Jail of say a Friday afternoon.
I don't want to go.
Well, there's a good reason not to go to Tyburn Jail because the place is honestly a horror show.
Ew.
Like
Um,
it is, it's inside, and the jailers will let you in because they'll do that, just for the asking. Inside is, to put it politely, dank, moist, and accompanied largely by a mixture of curses and screams. This
mm,
also includes a constant banging noise, which is some inmate banging a thing on another
hmm
thing that will not stop the entire time you're there.
Are they in individual cells, or is it like big
Uh,
cells with like 20 people in each?
it
Or
varies
okay,
because it varies by social class. Those who can afford to do so can basically pay for a private room. Those who cannot are thrown into what are essentially cages
what's Buck White?
built into the walls. He is not rich.
Yeah, so he's got like
They
30
will,
people in this freaking giant cage.
yeah, it's basically a bunch of people in a cage, and one of the jailers will call him out by name and he'll come up to the front and basically pull him out of the cage
Oh,
and take him to what is essentially a conference room, by which I mean there's a table, a couple of chairs, and the jailer will throw him in and position himself near the door, waiting to kick his ass should you request it.
oh, I want to request it so bad.
I mean, it's pretty clear that's the jailer's job, is if this guy gets out of line, to beat him up.
That's fine.
And the jailer will act like he's paying no attention and spend much of his time twirling a wooden club at the end of a lanyard, which is his weapon of choice here.
Where did you get my name, Buck White?
And that's how you're starting then, yes?
Yes. If I'm there, my character is up.
Yeah,
He's
he leans
appalled.
back. Got it by magic, of course.
I roll.
That that piques my interest. Magic, you say?
Naturally. I've seen things that would make your hair stand on end.
We've all
You
had
don't believe
nightmares
me?
before.
Oh no,
Maybe.
no, these weren't nightmares, pal. Friend of mine.
Is he telling the truth?
Psychology would help there.
Yeah, that's what I want to
Mhm.
do.
I
35
roll a
is a success, regular success.
Okay. Anyone else who wishes to as well?
I rolled one, but I failed. So
Okay.
I would
So
actually, as we're just talking to him, I'd like to, now that we've got him in a enclosed space, I want to examine him top to bottom. I imagine he's wearing sort of like rags, effectively, as he's been in prison for a while.
no, he
Uh,
hasn't. He's wearing the same clothing you saw the other day.
Yeah,
oh, never mind.
just wearing
He hasn't changed
clothes.
his clothes, nor are prisoners given a uniform.
Yeah.
Does he have any tattoos, any distinguishing markings, anything
Uh,
that would?
that's hard to see unless you can get him to move some of his clothing.
Yeah, he's got long sleeves, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
And tight
he's got.
collar up
Well,
top.
he doesn't have a collar, nor does he have a tie.
Okay.
Mhm.
So his shirt is open at the neck, but he does have a shirt with sleeves. He has a jacket. He does not have a hat at the moment, although that may have been stolen from him. His pants are
Oh,
ankle length and tattered.
no, I feel
His
bad for
shoes
them.
are old and worn. In other words, he's got his clothing is old and worn and not in great shape, but it's a full suit of clothing.
Oh, was he telling the truth about
Oh.
magic?
Well, hold on a sec. Was anyone else making any
Sorry.
kind of roll? So unless you're going to physically rough him up and get to his body that way, you can definitely see the scar on his head. And those of you with any points in medicine, that's a knife. That was done by a knife.
Like
Someone
like a
cut him.
knife fight? Or is it like
Probably.
look like it was like deliberately cut?
No, that's too jagged for
Okay.
deliberate. That's
So
almost
somebody
certainly a
he got
fight.
in a knife fight. Okay.
Yeah, someone cut it.
Was he
And keep in mind, by the way, the knife is the weapon of the lower class. It is not a good weapon to carry if you wish to protect your reputation.
No.
The club, the sword, the pistol, those are fine.
A
But the
club?
knife, yeah, the
Okay.
kind of club the guard is carrying, called a life preserver,
It's a
that is
billy
totally
club?
acceptable for the upper class. Yeah,
About this
billy clubs
long
are,
handle and
yes,
then it
yes,
widens a little at the end.
yeah, that's a totally acceptable
I
weapon.
have one of
It's
those.
the only weapon that really is associated primarily with the lower class is the knife.
Okay. Was he telling the truth
Knowing
about magic? I made that psychology check, unless you want me to make
he
another one.
he believes he was,
Okay.
but he did not learn. First off, he did not learn about you by magic.
That's
That
what I
he's lying
meant.
about.
Like he said
But
magic. Was he just messing with? He was just
he was just messing with you.
okay.
But
Okay.
when he
Good. Good.
said
Good.
I've seen things,
Oh no.
there he
Yeah.
believes it.
Yeah. I believe him. He's
So either he really has or he believes he has.
okay.
So he saw something that he is associated with something horrific. Whether it actually existed or whether he imagined is a different issue. But he believed it.
Have the papers noted what's going to happen to him yet? By this point?
There's plenty of coverage of that over the Tavers murder.
But like, is he going to be hanged or
The
exported?
expectation is that he will be hanged for
Okay.
that.
Okay. I was just curious.
Murder is generally not a transportable offense. That's
Okay.
generally a hanging offense.
Okay. Gotcha.
And the brutality of the murder and the motivation are making it worse.
Wait, brutality?
Cut her throat
Okay.
with a knife.
Okay.
And the idea that he did it just to sell her body, that's making him no friends.
Oh.
That kind of murder comes across as the kind where you want this guy to die. In other words, if he's convicted of the Tavers murder, he's going to hang. And right now, good bet he will be convicted of the Tavers murder.
Okay.
Because he's the suspect, and let's face it, who else are they going to go after? They got him for it. They're not going to look much harder.
Who were you collecting bodies for?
Why should I answer you? What are you going to do that could scare me?
Because you're about to hang in a clear conscience is something to go to death with.
Oh, I'm not afraid to die, Governor. I'm not. But I will give you that. I am afraid to hang.
Why?
Because I don't want to die in the air.
Where do you want to die?
Anywhere on the ground. Just not up there. Not up there.
What do you think happens if you die in the air?
Well, them's the visitors, aren't they?
Did you?
They are watching, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah. He leans in close. And that, with the psychology roll, that he believes 110%.
Oh, I'll make a
That there
psychology
is.
roll. I want to.
Well, I ride,
Nope.
don't worry,
Already made
ride
it.
the previous one. No,
Okay,
just
okay,
ride the previous
yeah.
one. That's the point. Is that he believes 110% that there is something that comes down from the sky that he's afraid of.
What? What are you afraid
And
of?
he acts as if he has seen it. Because he's acting with the conviction of someone who utterly believes what he's saying. So either he has seen it, it exists, or he believes he has seen it.
What have you seen?
The visitors.
What are they?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Angels?
No. Not angels. Not
Devils?
devils neither. Not dragons neither, but closer to that.
Can you describe them?
No. They move like a snake. And the eyes, once they've got you in their eyes, no hiding from it. And if I were up there on that gallows, they would see me.
When you die, they'll
But then I
see you.
won't die. That's the point. I ain't afraid to die. Everybody does. Makes no difference no how, right? Whether it be now or 10 years or 100, everybody going to die. Oh, no, no. If the visitors see you, you're not going to die, sir. It's going to be worse than that.
Why will they
So
see you?
I'll tell you what. He looks over toward the jailer. You help me, and I'll help you.
How?
You make sure I don't die on the gallows. Any other way is fine. I
How will
don't
you,
care none.
how will you help us?
I'll tell you what you actually wanted to know, right?
Okay,
As
so
much as I can. Much as I can.
how much is it going to
Just,
cost to bribe this guard to just beat him to death right now?
What the
guard's not
fuck?
going to do. Guard is not going to do that.
Okay, okay.
That would endanger his own safety and
Okay,
his
okay.
job.
I didn't think so.
No,
But I was
what
looking
you're
towards Illingsworth and I'm thinking, yeah, I bet he'll pay some money and
what you're,
something's.
what you're talking about here is finding a way for Buck White to commit suicide.
Oh, okay.
In other words,
Crap.
do something like smuggle him a knife
Right. I don't.
that he could use to kill himself.
I don't have a knife.
No,
Are
most
there
of you,
are there
I have
rafters in the jail cell?
fine clothing and a
some of
cane.
them, he could potentially hang himself.
If he could be gotten a belt or a.
Problem is, in a communal cell like that, there's no way he's going to do it without being seen. That's why he needs something like a knife.
Right.
Something
He's got to cut his
he can
carotid or
exactly.
um or just
Because if he tries to hang himself, the other
stab
inmates are going to
himself.
see it and put a stop to it.
Will they? Oh, that's so
Probably, yeah.
nice of them. How kind of them.
Well, you kidding me? They want to see him hang. It's a show.
Oh, that's right. They could probably see out the. Okay.
Oh yeah, and
See
don't
out
forget,
the little
executions
window.
are quite public.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was going to ask that. I was
How
going to ask if
precious.
executions are public
Oh, yeah.
Oh hell
still.
yeah, oh yeah,
It's,
Okay.
they are quite the show.
Okay, my character's at a loss. I don't carry normally a knife, and I don't have my doctor's bag, and I'm certainly not going to give him a scalpel because that'll lead the police right back to me.
Yeah, I mean, most of you
So,
probably have like a pocket knife or a pen knife, but it also is very identifiable.
right,
If you gave one of those things to him, any investigator would be able to figure out who it belonged to.
right, and we're the only people who've probably come to see him.
Actually, if you ask the jailer a little later,
I probably
the
will.
jailer will determine that actually two other people came to see him.
Interesting.
Do they have names or just descriptions?
They've got names.
I will take those later.
One
Jump in.
one was a man who called himself Caleb Brown, who identified himself as a minister.
Uh-oh.
Did he
Have
look
we
like a
have we
minister? Oh, fuck.
have we
Okay.
shared all of our information?
I don't know. You're the only
We've
one
got to
on the
figure out
outsider.
if we can get him
Did
a
you?
knife or something to kill himself,
Um,
Did,
and then he's going to give us information.
well, no. I mean about what you knew before.
yeah,
What I want to know is, did Mr. Baker share what he learned?
retroactively, I'm informing you
Oh, yes, please.
that when I was at the graveyard, it was learned that it was the Metropolitan, and the Potter's Fields. So the very poor were being grave robbed, and there was signs that it was a gang of grave robbers, not a single person, but multiple people. And this church is most likely the culprits.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
grave robbers rarely work alone.
the only
It's a
way we
lot.
can
Digging a grave is effort.
the only way we're going to get information from him is if somebody can slip him a knife or something
At some
sharp,
point,
a
or unless you
pencil.
come up with a better way
Yeah.
or work around it.
Um.
Point is, that's what he's saying is he's pretty convinced he's going to die for the
Right.
Tavers murder, which implies, by the way, that either he did it or he's fully aware of how the justice system works, and it doesn't matter if he did it. They're going to put it on him. He knows this,
I look at the other men
but
surreptitiously
he's just terrified to die by hanging.
and questioningly, as if, do you all, any of you have anything?
Oh,
Shock.
worth pointing out, incidentally, the second person who visited him was a
Oh yeah,
woman.
a woman.
Yeah,
Name?
she gave her name as Anna Whitehall.
Can I look at the table? Are there any nails in this table holding it together?
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to get them out without tools.
Yeah.
What about do I
Not
are
to mention you'd be seen doing that.
Yeah, that guard's right there. Keeping an eye,
Yeah,
protecting us. He's protecting us.
yeah.
are firing squads even a thing at this time at any juncture?
Only
Oh,
only in the military.
Yeah.
okay.
Some
Gunpowder's
military
expensive.
executions. No, it's
The
hang.
rope is cheap.
The point of hanging is it's symbolic.
Yeah.
Well,
Likewise, that's why some military executions are by shooting, because it's also symbolic.
okay.
Like for
Well, and
instance,
I
Marshall
can also
Ney
see like since they're
was
still
executed that way.
public, like that's also part of the crime deterrence system. Like do a public hanging, this is what happens to you if you do this. So,
Yeah, and they are. It's worth pointing out executions are entire shows.
Yeah.
Like the condemned, for instance, will travel through several neighborhoods. Will stop at a tavern to receive a glass of beer. Will be expected to make a speech from the gallows, often
Yep.
explaining why crime is wrong and how they came to this terrible end.
okay.
It's all part of the show.
Beer.
Yeah. In Tyburn, for instance, which is, I think by that era, they've discontinued using Tyburn directly. There's a pub in Seven Dials called the Angel,
$7.
which was traditional, for that stop, where the condemned the wagon transporting the condemned would stop, and the condemned would be offered a glass of beer.
Hmm.
That was part of the whole procedure. I mean, it's a whole show.
What happens before he is taken out to die? Like, does he get to see a priest? Does he get to is a physician come in to examine him or anything
Physician,
like that?
a physician, no.
Okay.
In some cases, a minister or some religious figure will be admitted, either the night before or the morning of. The condemned is generally allowed access to a religious figure, sometimes at the gallows rather than before. But there'll be a minister. We literally will walk with the condemned person up to the gallows and minister to them before the rope is placed. In other cases, the religious figure will visit the night before or the morning of.
What's more traditional? What's
It varies by
easiest?
time, by place, by social class.
Well, like his social class, if a minister came to take his last confession,
It would be
whatever.
less likely, but it could be done.
Okay.
And after all, they said a man who identified as a minister already came to visit him.
Yeah, this Caleb Brown fellow.
Yeah. And what will catch your guys' attention?
Well, we
this
don't
is, of
get
course,
these names until later, though.
That's
afterwards,
correct.
so
Yeah.
we don't have this information yet. Okay.
Yeah, because
We
what'll
just-
catch your notice later is Caleb Brown. If you check the registry book, which the guards will let you do,
Definitely going to do at some point. Yeah.
Caleb Brown, according to his signed registry, is a minister at St. Anne's.
Which is Church of Starry Wisdom. Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
he
find
put
that out
down
later.
the address of St. Anne's Church as
Yeah,
the
yeah.
place where his parish is. That part is probably true.
When we don't know
Yeah,
any of this
he's
yet.
with
Hold
them.
on. We don't know any of this yet.
Yep.
I got to keep
Yeah,
that
sorry.
differentiated, so we can't
Yeah.
use this as like leverage on him or to
Yeah.
try to get information from him.
Also, you can't spend much more time with
No. Of course not. Of
with
course not.
Buckwhite, because the guard will eventually decide your time is done.
Right.
Visiting hours, as it were, are over. But you do now have, in addition to that, you have two other people. You have Caleb Brown, the minister, and this woman who called herself Anna Whitehall. She gave an address. Whether that address is accurate is a different issue.
Yeah. Do I have anything sharp on my person that would not be immediately identifiable as coming from a physician?
Probably not.
Okay. Darn.
Unless if you brought a doctor's badge, you have a scalpel.
Didn't.
Otherwise,
and I wouldn't
you
want to give
probably
him a
have.
scalpel because
Yeah,
if he's found dead
yours.
with a scalpel in his hand, oh yeah, Dr. Payne was here.
Yeah.
So.
And most of you probably own a pocket knife or a pen knife.
Right, but it's
This is
like
a useful thing to
engraved or
have.
some bullshit, right?
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's probably identifiable as yours.
That's
Can I
why
give him-
I looked to the others like,
Do we have a pencil?
oh god.
One of you might have a pencil.
I think I'd have a pencil for notebooks.
I probably
Sure.
don't.
Graphite pencil, sure. Probably have one in your coat pocket.
Yeah, I guess I'll do a sleight of hand and try to give it to him.
Oh,
Yep.
yes, I hope. Yes.
Sleight of hand is what you'll want to hear that. Oh. Did you use the dice spot or using actual dice?
I rolled a 28, but
And
What's
my
your
sleight of hand is 25.
so you could use 3 points of luck.
Sure, I'll
Yeah.
spend it.
Yeah,
Question:
because you don't want to be seen doing this.
Do we notice this, or do we have to make a spot hidden or something to even see
The
this?
rest of you can make a spot hidden roll if you wish.
Oh, my
And the only
spot.
reason for that is because you all suggested this,
And we're right
which
there.
means you may be on the lookout for it.
I would
So
like.
anyone else may make a spot hidden roll to notice
No,
this.
I
I'd
fail.
like to make a spot hidden.
Fail here.
The guard will not because
I didn't
he's
notice it. I'm
watching.
just thinking. I'm trying to figure out a way to get this guy a knife or something sharp, and I can't. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, I just failed my spot hidden, so
I'm
96.
right.
So
And I'm not gonna burn it.
96? Is that a crit fail?
it's close. I mean,
Not that it matters. Critical failure makes no difference here
That's
anyway.
true. Look at the pretty
very
stones
close.
in the ceiling. They're so lovely.
Yeah, yeah. So no, none of you will notice it. You might tell them later, but none of them will notice you doing this.
But
And
does he spill?
he won't say anything else right away, but what he will say is, as he slides the pencil into his sleeve, so Miss Whitehall came to visit me. You know her, right?
I look at Baker.
Oh, maybe you know her by her married name. Delacourt?
Did he say Delacourt? Or
Delacourt.
Delacourt.
Yeah.
Do
So
we?
that's something important right there.
Do we-
No, none of you have
Okay.
heard of this woman. What I think the implication here is that Whitehall is an alias.
Yeah.
Her real name is Delacourt.
Blank.
You would never have found her if you were looking for Anna Whitehall.
That's fair. I'm not
Because
familiar.
I don't think Anna Whitehall exists, or if Anna Whitehall does exist, she's not the woman who visited the jail.
I'm not familiar, is what I'll say to him when he says Delacourt.
No, she's sort of popular these days, so I'm told. Mr. Brown knew her, I think, and she knew what was up there. She saw it with her own eyes
Up where?
in the sky.
You saw it as well.
Not like she did.
How did she see it?
From the sky. You've never heard of her. At this point, the guard would be like, okay, we're done here.
Oh,
And
very
he
well,
grabs
very
it.
well.
Look her up. It's the last thing you'll get from him.
Is it like, should one of us slip the guard a coin?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, I'll slip him a shilling. That's probably
Yeah.
way too much, but
It never hurts to buy a little goodwill with the people who work here.
Mhm.
And you can afford to.
and I'll thank him.
Now, and of course, he'll give you access to the book.
And then
so you'll learn that.
then we find out the book and we get all these names and
Yeah.
Anna
And then
Whitehall, Anna Delacourt,
Yeah.
or Whitehall is what she's called. Okay, cool.
Turns out, by the way, Delacourt is actually very easy to locate.
Oh,
Buy a newspaper.
who is she?
Because if you look through the newspapers,
I do every day.
you will find several papers have covered the recent, just a couple of weeks ago, ascent of the famous female balloonist, Anna Delacourt.
Is she French?
The balloons! Delacourt! It's French!
No, she is not French.
Oh,
Okay.
Although
okay.
it's possible that her balloon flight was the one they mistook for the French.
She's a
Oh.
balloonist. She knows what's in the air.
Oh,
Okay. And then do we
right.
read about
And
his suicide the next day? How he like.
no, not not yet, not yet,
Okay. Okay.
not the next day. But the point is that if he said she saw it, did she encounter it in a balloon?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. When we
Mm.
leave, I'm like, that's so surprising. I didn't think he was going to tell us anything else.
You were very persuasive.
Not me.
You were
He
both
just
very
suddenly
persuasive.
started talking. Very
Yeah.
strange. Thomas
I
Baker
mean,
remains completely quiet about slipping him.
Yeah.
I slipped him a pencil.
oh, oh,
Oh,
ooh, oh.
how kind of you. I pat Thomas Baker on the shoulder. He was terribly afraid of being hung.
Very generous, I suppose. He did. Let's.
Let's forget all about it.
Done.
All right then. Well, he gave you two names to work with.
Yes.
Caleb Brown, who we now know since you filled him in on the Church of Starry Wisdom, operates out of what was St. Anne's Church in Limehouse, and Hannah Delacourt, who apparently is a famous balloonist. Okay,
Where,
she's just a balloonist, but the fact that she's a woman is what's
yeah.
making her famous.
Where's she?
How many women balloonists are there? About three.
0. Oh, 3?
Actually, about three. Yeah, about
3?
three.
That's a lot.
Yeah, including the French woman who blew herself up.
Well,
I can't remember her name.
we don't
No,
talk
no,
about
true
her.
story. She was
No, I
she
believe you.
was she
They're
was
doing it
she
with
was she was
they're
involved in a
doing it with
fireworks display.
hydrogen. Are
Uh,
they using balloons
yeah,
with hydrogen right now,
yeah.
or is it hot air?
Oh, it's hot air, not
Yeah.
hydrogen, not pure hydrogen.
Yeah.
But the
Okay.
point is, there was a case of a woman. She was involved in a fireworks display for the birthday of the French king, and
Oh,
the fireworks backfired and caught the balloon, and
okay.
she died.
Oh,
She was shooting fireworks out of a balloon.
Yep.
Oh, that doesn't sound wise. Um,
Um,
I know nothing
that's
about
almost
balloons.
certainly. It is not wise, but that didn't
No.
stop people, didn't it?
So where
right.
does she live? Is she in London?
She is now. Oh, actually, guess what? That woman who died in a balloon hadn't died yet. It
Okay,
was
so she's
eighteen.
just another
It was
balloonist.
1819. Sophie Blanchard
1819. Okay, but we know about
died in
her because she does a
1819 in
lot
a
of
balloon
ballooning.
explosion. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
she
in
hasn't
other
blown
words,
herself up yet.
yeah. So you can name at least two women balloonists.
Delacourt
So
and
Sophie
this other
Blanchard and Hannah
Blanchard.
Delacourt.
Okay,
One being English, the other being
Delacourt. That
French.
sounds French. This might be a
Uh,
French plot.
well, if you want to check the, let's say, the who's who, the
Mm-hmm.
social register,
Let's
she's
try.
not. She's not French.
Oh, well,
Her family are
she's a
Norman
Norman.
French.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is she rich? Is she
you
gentry?
have to be. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
She,
she's flying balloons. She's got to be rich. Okay.
yeah, balloons are not cheap.
Yay. So, gentlemen, well, we all seem to be interested in this strange
Yeah,
occurrences.
yeah. So Hannah Delacourt, 22 years of age, still unmarried, balloonist, related to a number of wealthy and powerful people.
Oh dear.
Has a reputation for being unwilling to play by social convention,
Ooh.
and if you believe the rumor, once actually slapped the Right Honorable Roger Williams for saying something rude to her at a ball.
Who's
Had to
Roger
right in his face.
Ooh.
Williams?
Some clown who's related to the Duke of Marlborough.
Good for
Okay.
her. Good for her.
Is there any mention
Yeah,
of her
it was quite
religion?
the scandal when she apparently literally whapped him across the face.
Is she did anything about religion in the Who's Who?
Church of England.
She's not connected to, as far as it is concerned, the Church of Starry Wisdom, whatever that
Yeah.
is.
No, if
Okay.
she's a member of that cult, she is not advertising that publicly.
Okay. All right, gentlemen.
So she might be, but the who's who does not know that.
Yeah. Um, she visited him. So did Caleb Brown. I'm looking
Yeah.
at Illingsworth and Baker. They seem the
That's
most likely to be willing to blackmail someone to me. For some
that's the
reason.
weird part. why would Delacourt visit
Yeah,
This guy.
exactly.
Why would she
I
visit
guess we could
Jack
just
Buckwhite?
bring that up. And then Caleb Brown is a minister, and we know that he's with St.
Well,
Anne's. That's his address. He's obviously connected with the Church of Star Wisdom, whatever the hell that is.
yep.
So
In Limehouse, a neighborhood
let's
that you
stop
may
at
have
a
already
tavern.
noticed is
Let's get
not
some.
pleasant.
Let's get some sherry. And what should we do next, gentlemen?
We, I think Sherry's is a great idea. We should
Nice.
collect what we've learned and plan our next steps. I mean, Baker, you mentioned this thieves guild masquerading as a church, yes?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
a thieves guild that has been grave robbing the Potter's Field.
I feel as if we've stumbled into something out of a penny dreadful.
Indeed. Perhaps we should talk to Miss Delacourt first
Mm.
before we deal with criminals.
Well, most of the wealthy of London are not yet in town for the season, but she is
Mm-hmm.
because good flying weather. Yeah, it's almost certain she's responsible for the balloon panic.
And she's
I
not
could-
a
So
member.
some of those people who panicked did see a balloon. They just,
Uh,
didn't know who was in it. They weren't wrong about that. There was a balloon.
Perhaps we
there
could
is
Just
the
one.
question of how do we approach a lady of such stature without, you know, without causing offense or acting improperly.
Hmm. So
Right,
first you
that's a
send
good
a calling
question.
card.
Yeah.
You start by going to her address and leaving a calling card.
Mm.
It's weird that a group of men would come and talk to this woman, isn't it?
Uh, Might be.
Shouldn't an
And again,
individual, one of us, go and learn what they can?
Well,
could be one person. If you
I
go in, if there's more than one, it looks like it's hard to say. It
It
could look like
I
you're making
do
sure that no one is alone.
it's weird.
I
Well,
I
Because
do have
the one thing you don't want to do, if at all possible, is you do not want to be an unmarried man and an unmarried woman should not be alone.
ha,
yes.
I'm married.
That's what I was going to. That
Oh
was
shit,
actually what I
Yes,
was going to
I'm
ask.
married.
that
I'm
actually gives you more leeway in that sense.
yes.
The fact
I
that you're
was
married means you can, if you are alone with her, it's going to be less of a scandal than an unmarried man.
Yeah.
I actually I had a thought. We could now. Uh, my father has been trying to get me married off for quite a while now. Now, I'm not saying that
I'm
we
shocked
make
at
a
this.
nice.
Edgeworth,
No, I'm not saying we romance the suspect, but I am saying that it would not be untoward for a youngish, 29,
He's
gentleman
29. Yeah, that's she's 22.
such as
That's yeah, that
20,
works.
such as
Well within normal age.
to inquire for perhaps a supervised meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly how
I,
it's to be, how it would best be done.
Do you think that Miss Delacourt might be dangerous? And I'm asking everybody. We're in my. Could we have gone to my house? It's pretty
Yep,
private there. We're in the parlor. We're all having a sherry. We're discussing this.
yep, easy to do.
Do you think she might be dangerous?
that I had not considered
Well,
when I proposed my plan.
she's visiting a criminal by herself.
True.
She was alone there, right? She came and visited him, just her,
Yeah, posing as someone
as
else.
someone else.
And by the way, the address she gave
Is in a
is
Limehouse too.
no, it's in Spitalfield,
I don't.
which
Mm,
is another not very nice neighborhood.
no.
Spitalfield. Did they mention that in Cutthroat Island?
I don't
They were
know.
supposed to be in Jamaica, and she's like, "I'll meet you at Spitalfield" or some bullshit. And I looked that freaking place up and could not find it anywhere in Jamaica. And I was like, "What is she talking about?" Sorry, non
No.
sequitur.
Point of the matter is that she gave an address that would be very normal for a lower class woman. So she showed up essentially using a disguise.
She is a criminal.
At
She
the very
used a
least,
false
she's very
name. She
clever.
probably was dressed down. She gave an address keeping with a lower class place. So she pulled off a disguise skill.
Something,
Hmm.
yeah, something. There's something untoward about all this. Yes.
If you're worried about my safety, Doctor,
Yes, I am very much
perhaps,
so.
perhaps I could arrange the meeting to occur in a public park, and you all could just happen to be enjoying the scenery at the exact same time.
Yes, but perhaps there could be some danger. I'm gonna go over. This is my den that we're sitting in and drinking in, and I'll go over and open a cabinet and pull out a case and open it up, and there's a pistol inside.
Oh,
Gentlemen, I don't mean to startle you.
I'm not startled at all. I've
Perhaps you
done
should
some
carry
writing.
something to defend yourself with, Mr. Edgeworth.
I must admit, I'm more skilled with the long gun.
Oh, I go over to a closet and open it up.
Well,
There
no
is
problem
a
here. The
rifle and a
pistol will fit.
fowling piece in there, but it's going to be kind of hard to disguise that if you're going to go see
Yeah.
this girl.
The pistol will fit in your pocket to go to
Yeah.
the park.
Is
A
yours
long gun will not.
I
Sorry,
You
hunt.
just-
can't.
So
I
what?
wouldn't walk through Regent's Park with a
No,
musket
no,
on my shoulder if I were you.
I normally do not go about armed, but if you wish to meet Miss Delacourt in her home, I could position myself somewhere nearby in case there is some
Well, honestly, your
dangerous
first plan was probably better.
altercation.
Go,
Give him a pistol?
bring your calling card
Yeah,
and
yeah.
arrange for a meeting, a chaperone meeting at a park.
All right. If that's a
To
better
take-
idea, then I'm full. I
Yeah,
put all the
it
guns
is.
away.
It
To
is.
take a walk, to take what's called a promenade.
Oh, I do
Very
appreciate
normal.
I do appreciate the concern for my safety, but I don't know if the situation's quite called for firearms yet.
Well, when I travel between London and Bedfordshire, I do go armed. There are sometimes, very rarely, highwaymen have been reported.
Mhm.
And I
Doesn't
hunt.
happen often, but it does happen.
I point to the
Doc-
closet when I say I hunt.
The doctor is just looking for any opportunity.
No, I'm just worried about you, big time.
Fair.
But if you want
I,
to do it that way, send a calling card and arrange for a chaperoned walk in the park, and then the other three of you could be nearby because
Yes.
it's a public park. People will go
I
and
think
walk.
that works for me. Mr. Illingsworth and Mr. Baker, do you have any ideas?
No, that sounds like capital idea.
But there is a little wrinkle in this plan.
Oh no.
So first step
Well, she
is
has to.
Mr. Edgeworth sends a servant with a calling card
She's gotta accept.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
arrange a meeting. And what you'll receive in response is a reply that says, "You are welcome to call on her, but she is not willing to go to the park and take a walk."
So
Okay.
in her
So-
home, he can call upon her. Is that what I'm hearing with a
That's
chaperone?
itself unusual, unless, of course, she doesn't want to be outside.
Oh.
Okay. Well, that does give us some information to work with, even that in that.
Yeah.
So she is.
So she's willing to flout convention and have you come visit her at home.
Are
Which is
there
well,
arcades?
Basically, kick the convention in the nuts.
There'll be obviously a chaperone.
Of course.
I'm offering him the pistol again if he wishes to
Are
carry it
there-
with him.
I think I can carry the pistol into my meeting with Delacourt.
This is making me very nervous.
It's
This is
making me
not
very
how
nervous.
proper people act.
Well, also
Are
not the
there-
first person you've met who's concerned about things above them.
Yes.
Are there roofed arcades?
Oh, actually, yeah, that's a possibility.
What now?
So an arcade.
An
In fact,
arcade,
they're
which
all-
is like a strip mall with a roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an amazing idea, Josh.
Cheap side.
Can he send back a message suggesting that?
Yeah. That
Is that-
how would cheap side serve?
Is that Edgeworth? Is that appropriate? Are you okay with that?
I think that would be a lovely compromise.
See
And
what she does.
to test your theory,
before we send it though, we should perhaps make some innuendo as to us also not wanting our meeting observed by the sky to clue her in that we might also be clued in.
How will you Yes, you should. This is all
Yeah,
you, Edgeworth.
yeah.
I
That
will
would be
help, of course.
an etiquette roll on your part would do that nicely.
Yeah, I
Me?
can't help.
Or
I don't think.
actually, any of you can because
Can
you're
we?
writing it.
I will make an
So
etiquette check. See if I can think of a good.
yeah, because
Could
this is
I perchance
No,
aid him in
no, I've critical failed. Yes, yes,
good?
Edgeworth. Tell her the sky is bad. The sky is very bad. Bad things
the
come from
point
the
is,
sky. I'm going to start
Oh,
writing. I grab a pen and I start writing.
Yeah.
Yes, the
yeah,
sky is a terrible place. It is horrific. And I'm going to quote, what's his face from the prison. What did he say? The visitor comes from the sky, right? That sounds good, doesn't it? Yes, that sounds excellent.
Yes,
I
the rest of
critical
you might want to
fail.
make an etiquette. The
the,
rest of you might want to make an etiquette roll as well. I'm just saying.
Please,
I
please make an
I
etiquette.
rolled one, but I failed. I failed pretty bad, but
Mine
I
was a
don't think I
crit
quite.
fail.
I don't think mine was quite critical, although it
90
was
fucking
close.
7.
Anybody else?
I rolled a 96, so
You crit failed too.
that's
You're
in
on
that.
board with me.
okay.
Okay.
What I'm saying is
Uh,
great. This is amazing. It's a great
I
idea.
okay.
What
Okay,
about the
hold
others?
on. Hold on.
Come on.
So my etiquette is a 10.
Graham, please make your etiquette check.
My etiquette is a 10, and I rolled an 8 on my D100.
Yes! Thank God.
Okay.
You pick up the
Um,
paper for me and just tear it up.
No,
yeah.
I just yes, doctor. I will have this sent right away, and I just stuff it in my back pocket.
Here, sign it. Sign it.
Yes, yes, of course, of
Wait,
course.
no,
I
no, no.
take,
You have to rewrite it. It'll have to be in your handwriting.
yes, of
And then
course, and I start writing an actual,
yeah,
an
Thank you.
actual.
Thank God for that.
putting putting in the idea that the not seeing the sky is appropriate, and basically
Uh,
doing it subtly,
yes.
and
Yes.
that
I'd
should
write,
confirm your theory because she
I'd
is
write.
willing to meet you at Cheapside.
Yeah, I'd write something along the lines of, "No, you're quite right, Miss Delacourt. The skies have been ominous of late, and I would much prefer a roofed venue for our discussion."
Mhm. There you go.
I love that. I love it so much.
Yeah. Oh, and
Thank
by the
you.
way, in
Oh,
this
thank
time,
God.
that is when you will learn about Buck White's suicide.
Oh,
Ooh, yeah, it's in the
Yeah,
papers.
it will make the newspapers. After the indictment, once they had formally indicted him on the Travers murder, then
mm,
he does that, and that'll also close the Travers case. So there's another wrinkle to that too, though, because if he did it, then the Travers case is closed. But if it was another member of the Church of Starry Wisdom, they're off the hook.
Yeah.
So either he did it just what he said he did to avoid hanging, or he did it to cover up somebody else,
Mhm.
or porque no los dos.
Well, he was seen running from the scene, though, too.
Yeah, if he
So
didn't do it, he
likely
probably
he
knows who
was,
did.
yeah, he was involved in some way. Did they say
Yeah,
how he killed himself or that he just committed suicide?
the newspaper gives no details
Okay,
other than the claim that he stabbed himself. Doesn't indicate how.
okay. Oh, my character never did. Wait, I'm sorry, I forgot. Did Baker say he slipped him a pencil?
Yes,
I
yeah.
did.
He
I
did, and
totally
then we're
did.
like,
Yeah.
we'll never speak of this again.
Now,
Okay.
the thing is, do you want to actually see the body? That's
Oh,
one of the privilege of being a physician. You could talk your way in there and see the body if you want to.
fuck. I'm gonna ask the rest of our gentlemen who are in on this little conspiracy or investigation, or however you want to put it, what their opinions are on that. Because I note that I could go see the body. This is after he
Um.
sent his note off to Delacour before we've
Yeah,
received a reply.
because that process takes a couple of days.
Right. So
Sending the
what?
first note,
So I
getting
will
a
invite them
response,
over
sending
for
a second
dinner,
one.
and then after dinner we'll have drinks, and I'll ask them. I could go investigate. I could go see the body. Is there any advantage to that?
Um. Maybe just to confirm that it was done by his own hand.
Well, the newspapers say suicide. He killed himself.
Yeah, that is what the newspapers say.
Yeah, doesn't mean it's true just because it's in the newspaper.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Illingsworth. That is a
I
good
I, th-
point.
I think that it would not hurt. I don't see any way that this could hurt you. And I think that if there is any information we glean from his body, it's better that we do it before it is, given back to the earth and possibly stolen by someone else in his exact position.
Oh,
Who we can take the time for inspection, look for tattoos that we couldn't see.
Yep.
could you accompany me,
Good
Mr.
point.
Baker?
Oh, I of course I'd love the experience.
Tattoos is not something I had thought about at all. But yeah, I'll try
Yep.
to gain permission the next day, and
Yep.
see if I can
He's
examine the body. I mean, I can't autopsy him. Obviously, that's not a thing, right?
well, actually, it is.
Oh,
But there's you don't need to be doing that.
no, that's somebody else.
Question for skills. Uh, what I know that 25 is adequate,
Yep.
right? What does that mean in the context of medicine?
It means that if you have all day and a lab, you can fix pretty much anything that can be fixed with medicine. So if you had to diagnose somebody in a 20-minute office visit, you'd have to roll. If you had several hours and your equipment, you don't have to roll.
Okay, because I was curious because I have 26 in medicine. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what does that make
So
me?
it makes you competent to perform medicine,
Hmm.
although not an expert at it, which is to say, if you have the time and resources to do it, you will do it correctly. You also might have to roll if you're confronted by something that's not a common illness or injury, something that only really experienced doctors would recognize. You might have to roll. But if it was something common, like for instance, with that level of skill, you don't have to roll to do things like recognize this cut was made by a knife, that one by a cleaver.
This hole
The,
was
the
made by a
correct
pencil.
the correct process for this illness is to do this. Now, you may have to roll to do that thing, for instance, if it's complex, like a surgical procedure. But you would know by looking, okay, this is what this person is suffering from. This is the conventional solution.
Pretty much
That
the
sort of thing.
most complex surgical things we do right now are chop off appendages, right?
Well,
Can
body
we?
cavity surgery has begun, but
Okay,
it is still far more dangerous than successful.
right.
It
We can
reminds me
maybe.
of that. Oh, sorry. It reminds me of that doctor story I remember hearing. This doctor was famous for being really quick with
Yep,
like sutures and such, and during a open operation that had a gallery, he cut into his patient, and then he was so fast he cut a person that was watching, and they both got infected with gangrene and died.
yep. Yeah,
So
his name was Robert Liston.
Kevin told us about this on our
yeah,
last
Yeah,
game
Yeah.
session
yeah.
of the
His
Dream
name was
Blades.
Robert. His name was Robert Liston. He died in 1847
Amazing.
and killed the patient, his assistant, and himself
Yeah,
in
you
one
told
move.
us the story. That's
Yeah,
so crazy.
yeah. Well, it's that's the sort of thing. Surgeons operate with speed
You have to,
because there's not much in the way of painkillers.
right?
So you got to be fast.
But I have the perfect painkiller.
So
Mesmerism. Okay.
in this case, you don't need it because your
Yeah,
subject is
he's
already
dead.
dead.
So can I gain permission to investigate the
That's easy
body
to
with
do.
my assistant?
Yeah. Although for both of you, when they'll take you into the jail's morgue,
Oh boy.
and one of the attendants will take the body down from a shelf
Hmm.
and uncover it. Both of you are going to want to make a sanity roll at this point.
I do not. I'm immune
Yeah,
to
I know.
sanity losses from viewing a corpse or a gross injury.
Not this one.
Okay.
So both of you are going to want to make a sanity roll.
Where's my sanity? Ooh. Oh. It's a little lower than it should be. Yes. I made it.
Okay. If you succeed, you lose nothing.
Sweet. Okay.
So the first part you are immune to. The fact that the left eye has been completely destroyed.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
yeah.
Did it
He
bust
used,
right through the frickin'.
that is exactly what he did.
Oh. Jeez, dude. Just. Okay.
But that's not what he did.
No.
That part wouldn't have gotten you in and of itself. The part that gets you is the other eye.
What's up with the other eye?
It's
what?
distended, and it looks as if there's a scratch on it, as if he attempted to destroy the other eye with his last action.
So he stabbed
Himself,
in the brain,
and then attempted to do it again into the other eye.
distended. It's popped out.
Yeah,
So
like he
That's
missed
what I thought.
and essentially ejected part of the eyeball.
he killed
Jesus.
himself
And that's
by
not-
trying to blind himself.
Wait. Is that possible? Do I need a medicine check? I mean, is it possible to pierce your brain and then just keep
And then
going?
do it again. You've never heard of a case of it happening.
Okay.
Clearly, it's possible because he did it, but you've never documented such a case. And in the second case, he missed.
Right. He like popped himself here or
Yeah.
something, and it went in and it popped the eye out.
Exactly. That's the troubling part. Is not the damage itself. The fact that he tried to do it twice.
I'm gonna tell Mr. Baker I have never seen anything like this in my life.
That was the sanity roll part.
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
Not the
that was a
physical
good call.
damage.
That was a good call.
Yeah.
And Mr. Baker, is he naked? Is the corpse just
Yeah.
naked? Okay, so it won't take long to examine it to look for the tattoos that Mr. Baker was interested in and mentioned to me before.
Yep. And in fact, if you push him part way over, you will find one.
Where
What
Between
is
the
it?
shoulder, between the shoulder blades
Okay.
is something that resembles. Actually, it's hard to say what it is because the tattoo is old,
hmm
or more correctly, it's poorly executed. Like this was not done by an expert artist. It probably represents some kind of creature, perhaps a snake.
They have wings.
No, no wings.
Okay.
Okay.
Two dominant eyes that seem to be on the same side of the head. As
It's
if
like a
the artist.
flounder.
This is the depiction of what he was describing, right?
It might be, yeah. Except both eyes are on the same side of the head, which from our perspective would make it look more like it's almost a cubist depiction.
Well, he never really described it. He just told us we would never understand it and all this other
He
stuff.
did say it moved like a snake, though.
He used
That's
snake-like,
right. I forgot.
And this thing looks vaguely like a snake if a snake was painted by Pablo Picasso with both eyes on the same side of its head.
Both sides the same side of his head. Okay. Or like a
Or
flounder. Could be a flounder.
maybe
snake.
it has 4 eyes.
Flounder snake.
Or that,
I'm not there.
Flounder snake.
Yeah.
It's a flounder snake.
also, yeah, or it's a flounder, or it has more than two eyes.
Okay. Nothing else on the body that seems to stand out.
They've taken all of there's no possessions left.
No. Like
So-
the body itself. Like no
scar.
markings, no scar.
Scars, plenty of those.
Really?
Like this, yeah, he had a hard life. There are
But
a number of closed old wounds.
Okay. But nothing that
Places
looks
where he clearly
weird,
was-
like right down the center where the heart is, or
No, just evidence of being in fights.
he has all of his genitalia.
Yep.
Okay.
No, what you're looking at is evidence that he was in fight, that he'd been
Okay.
in several fights.
Okay.
Like there's a solid bruise below the rib cage, which is probably a distended part of an organ from being beaten.
Okay.
There's the scar on the forehead, which is a knife cut.
Was he autopsied,
There's
or is that still
no.
to come? Okay.
They're not going to bother. You
Oh.
could if you wished. They're not going to bother.
I don't think so.
2 puncture wounds that have been sealed up that probably came from a needle or a knitting needle, something like that. Like it's clear he was in a bunch of fights over his lifetime.
Okay. Nothing that stands out is this is weird, unusual, and shouldn't exist.
Other
When
than the
was,
tattoo.
when was
Yeah,
formaldehyde discovered?
The way he fucking killed himself.
Yeah, and that formaldehyde is not in use in that era. Bodies are
Alcohol.
preserved in alcohol.
Right? Yeah, we could. You still see stuff in jars in alcohol that's preserved and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Anything else, Mr. Baker?
I can't think of anything else.
Nor can I.
This tattoo is very
Disturbing.
concerning.
Yes, concerning is a perfect word. I'm gonna also give our jailer another shilling.
Also a good idea.
As a thanks, a
Yeah,
reward.
this is
whatever.
the morgue attendant, not the jailer, but still.
Yeah, him. Whoever helped us out.
Yeah.
I
Well,
slipped
it's
him
not
a
like these
shilling.
people. It's not like these people gave you their name. They do not need you to know their name.
I didn't
In
give
fact,
them.
they made a point of not asking.
I didn't give them my name except for the person who I had to give it to. So, and
Yeah,
then we're
and and
gone.
and
We're
the, and the
out.
morgue keeper makes a point of not asking your names,
That's fine. And then
nor
we're out.
giving you his.
He
And
wasn't in
off
the
you
room
go.
while we were talking to each other, was he?
No, he
I'm a
wants as little to do with this as
I'm a
possible.
doctor. He showed us. He put the body down. He left. We left. I slip him a shilling. He goes back
And
in to
he'll
put the body where it belongs. And then
exactly.
I wonder aloud as we leave, just to Mr. Baker, of that old legend of the last thing a person sees being imprinted on their eye. Ah, that's just nonsense, though. Of course, that's just nonsense.
Yeah. Uh, as for Miss
Edgeworth.
Delacourt, that's Mr. Edgeworth's doing, I believe, while the rest of you are going to be lurking nearby.
If it's possible.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Cheapside is a public space.
Okay.
yeah, I was wondering, how long do we want to play for tonight?
Oh, also a good
Oh,
question.
that is a
It's
good
10
question.
past 11.
Yes.
It is 10 past 11, so I was wondering. I feel like it might be a good note to end off on uh, our my our interview, because everyone's going to be speaking to me, giving me ideas. But the no, meta. Um, uh, we could pick up with the interview of Miss Delacourt.
hmm
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a good point. So we could
at
either
the
do that
theater.
now and then end after that, if you like, or we can
Either way.
leave that for next time,
I
whichever people prefer.
I think
Because
leaving
you're
it
right,
for
it is
next
after
time.
11, and we should probably think about wrapping up.
Okay.
Yeah, I think leaving it for next time leaves this on a really good cliffhanger.
Wait,
Okay.
can we find out whether or not he does get the interview? Does she send back a message? We
Oh
haven't
yeah, we
heard
already
back.
established that.
Oh, did we?
Yep.
Okay,
So
I
we
missed
did.
that. Sorry.
Yeah, because the point is that confirmed your theory about the open air. That
So
when he
she's willing to
offered to
meet him in
meet
the arcade, and we're
in
gonna all
Cheapside
be kind
Arcade,
of around.
yeah. Now Cheapside is a shopping district. Its name comes from cheapman,
Okay.
which is the old Anglo-Saxon term for a merchant.
So it's not actually like low class
Yeah,
garbage
no,
place
it's
like
called
East End
Cheapside,
or
but it
whatever.
actually just means stores, place for
Okay.
business.
Okay.
Yeah, which is weird, but that's the origin of the name.
I
So
I
it's
will
the rest of you could easily be shopping and will attract zero attention because that's where people go to shop.
before
Mhm.
Mr. Edgeworth meets with her. I will ask him if he feels like he might be in any danger from this woman or from.
Honestly, honestly, I won't know until I meet her. So I'd say stay close, but for now, uh, we'll try to keep things civil.
So I think I'm gonna arm myself, Kevin,
Okay, you're
with
taking the
just
pistol out and loading it.
a pistol tucked away, hidden away, just in case. Hopefully, it will not be necessary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably not.
I'll
But
also
this whole
say,
situation has been quite strange and terrifying.
mhm, agreed. Also, I will say this does give Kevin time to prep something mischievous.
Prep.
But who knows?
No, it gives Connor time to figure out what the hell he's going to say to this woman because you're on your own, boy.
Yeah.
Fair.
Oh, you miss me here. I'm making stuff up as I go along.
That's okay. It's working. This has
It's
been
working. This has
this
been
has
great.
been this has been great. I love all the names you're throwing at us. I love um, that I have no idea what's going on yet. Well, a little idea, but um, I love that Baker snuck that dude a pencil and he freaking killed himself.
Yep. Well,
Um,
he said he didn't want to hang,
this has
and
been very
notice
investigative, and I very
notice
much
he
enjoyed.
Mhm.
waited until it was clear that he was going to be convicted.
Yes, I
He didn't
thought
want
that
to
was.
die,
He's not a
but
stupid
he
man.
didn't want to hang.
Mhm.
He was more afraid of he
Yeah,
didn't want to die,
he didn't want to
but
die
he
in
was
the
more
air.
afraid of hanging than dying.
It's something in the air.
Something in the air.
Yes. And now, of
Well, I've
course,
had,
the interview with a balloonist who maybe
mhm,
encountered it as well.
mhm. Well, I've had a ton of fun.
I have too.
Awesome.
I hope I didn't talk too much, guys, because I've
No,
been
no, no.
talking a
You're
lot. I
you're
feel like
you're excited. You. I enjoyed
When
it.
I never get
when
to
shall
play.
we? Yeah, when shall we pick up?
Do we want to do this
We three meet
by
again.
week bi-weekly, perchance, or do we want to do it monthly?
I'm okay. either way. Over the holiday break, I can go more bi-weekly.
I would prefer bi-weekly because it'll keep the momentum going as opposed to once a
Yeah.
month.
Wait.
Is really
So
slow.
does that mean the
Every other
11th
week.
is what we're looking for?
I was gonna say bi-weekly was like 2 times a week,
No.
or
Every
No.
other
Once
week.
every,
Every
once
Every
other
every
other.
week.
2 weeks.
Okay.
Once
Bi-monthly,
every
I
2 weeks.
guess. I
So today is the
also,
27th, right?
The 11th.
yes, I'm gonna try to run down Darker Trails on the 4th,
Right.
and Graham and Josh. I don't know if you have any interest in an extra game in your life, but I don't mind having more players. They're in the Dreamlands right now, so it's all kind of weird, and they're in the middle of some stuff. So just to
Okay.
warn
So
you.
I'm putting this one down then for December 11
Okay.
or 8 p.m.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
I can do that. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm putting that in the calendar
So this
because
is
if I don't keep the calendar, I will forget things.
Regency Cthulhu for the
Yep.
11th.
Okay. I put that in the calendar. And you have the character name notes and whatnot, right?
Yes.
'Cause I saw you were taking notes and I haven't been.
I've been taking a
So,
ton. I'm
good.
going to write this up as a role playing journal.
Okay,
I will
good.
put a
Good.
copy in role playing journals in on Discord here, and I will also
Okay.
send you a copy as a
Good.
PDF, Kevin. So that should give
Okay.
you pretty much everything that happened tonight. And
Okay. Mostly, I just got to remember the names of all these people.
yeah, usually when I do this too, I will also put like dot 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 or 3 asterisks, and I will also go into scenes where my character is not involved. It's not good writing style because it turns the first person perspective into a third person perspective, but it does get all the information out there, and so it's a good
Yeah.
information dump, so to speak.
And it's honestly the way characters divide up and come back together is quite appropriate for the genre
Yes.
to get
So
things done like that.
I
And of
learned
course,
later.
over the course of time, well, the other thing is these things take because of the nature of the setting days.
Yes,
Like
several days have
to
passed.
arrange that walk with Miss Delacourt, for instance, took 2 days.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
you
pretty
send the first
vague.
message, you
It's
get a
taking
response, then you have to send another message, wait for another
yeah,
response.
it's taking place in March of
Yeah,
1811. But other than that, I'm
yeah,
going to keep it kind of March is about it.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
I'm not going to go into like it was the 9th of March when I met these gentlemen, blah blah blah, or
yeah,
whatever.
I mean you can pick a day, but the point is the calendar remains a little flexible
Yeah.
because that's the nature of the setting.
Oh crap! I didn't mark my freaking successes. I'm so mad at myself. Okay.
I
Oh
did
yeah,
mark
yeah.
one of mine. Should we roll
I
now?
know I got psychology. No, we probably should wait till the end of the scenario.
At least wait till the end of the next one
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
because we're really kind of right in the middle of something.
I think I'll be able to tell which ones I succeeded at because it's all on tape. So
Yeah,
yeah, this was
that too.
cool.
All right.
Cool.
Well,
I
awesome.
don't think I don't think I had any, but I don't think I rolled for many either.
You
So
rolled a listen check. I remember that when
You
you were
did?
sitting across the room brooding, and you
Yeah,
were
but
trying
Yeah.
to
I
like
failed
eavesdrop.
that too. I
okay,
think.
yeah.
Yeah. So you
Wait,
got that at least, did you?
I don't.
You
He
always
failed
gotta
that
have
the,
one. He
the
Oh,
said,
list,
okay.
"Can I
the
hear
listen
them?
check, yes.
Can I hear them?" I already made a listen
Yeah.
check and failed, and you were like, "No,
Yeah.
you don't hear them." I'll double
Yeah,
check,
I don't
Garrett. If
have
I
a
find that you made a roll, I'll let you know.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well, have a great night, everybody.
All right.
You
Well,
too.
thank you,
Same here.
everybody. We'll see you guys in a couple of
It
weeks' time.
was
People watching, thanks for watching. Bye.
Have a
Oh
great
yeah,
nice
I forgot.
meeting a couple of you.
Yep.